Suddenly, he made his move. Suddenly, he made his move, and it was not towards Long Fei, but towards the Destiny sect master, Hu Tianhe. His body collided. Hu Tianhe simply could not react in time, and his entire body was immediately sent flying. He heavily smashed into the ground and landed at Long Fei's feet. All the bones in Hu Tianhe's body had been broken, and he was on the verge of death. Both of his eyes looked at Long Fei, gritting his teeth as he said solemnly, "Destiny, you want to rebel?" Heavens will descended, and he said with a smile, "You are the one who is tired of living if you want my boss to die. Do you understand?" Boss. Many people did not understand, including Long Fei himself. Hu Tianhe glanced at Long Fei and said, "He's your boss? Ha ha ha, then I'm still your ancestor." Destiny's gaze turned cold. He did not make a move, but instead looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, do you remember me?" Long Fei shook his head. "I don't remember. I don't remember." Even though Heaven's mandate was strong, to be able to reach the 8th level of the Overlord at such a young age, Long Fei never once thought of taking him in as a little brother. Another little brother from his previous life? I don't feel anything. At least, when Li Yuanbao looked at it, he had a feeling that it was fate, but not this time. Heaven's mandate was not discouraged and said, "I wasn't like this before. I am a dragon coffin." Dragon coffin? Long Fei's pupils tightened. It was as if these two words were about to explode in the depths of his memories. Dragon coffin were very strong. It can transform, and it can evolve. Hu Tianhe's eyes also darkened as he said in a heavy tone, "Destiny, you actually know that you cultivated out of a coffin? You are a coffin, and a coffin is your real face. If you dare to not stop me, you can forget about obtaining that coffin." Heaven's mandate did not care at all. Both of his eyes remained unmoving as he looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, did you ring? And there's also the beautiful big sister." "Sleeping Beauty?" Long Fei blurted out. Destiny nodded excitedly. "Yes, yes, yes." Long Fei looked at Destiny. "You are a dragon coffin? Then your coffin." Hu Tianhe was always displeased as he said, "In my place, this coffin is his real face, and without this coffin, he is nothing." Heaven's mandate. It's not too late for you to listen to my orders now. Make your move immediately and kill him. Destiny looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, can you help me blow it out?" As soon as he finished speaking, Long Fei slapped his palm down on Hu Tianhe. "Even if you didn't say it, I would have still killed him." Boom! With one palm, the little amount of blood on Hu Tianhe's head exploded. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hu Tianhe for obtaining 890,000 experience, 100,000 true spiritual value, and 1 universal value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Dragon Coffin. Just this one item dropped. Long Fei moved and immediately checked the Dragon Coffin. It was incomparably cordial. Moreover, just then, a voice came out from the Dragon Coffin. "Master!" The voice was the same as Destiny's voice. It was a very familiar feeling. Long Fei secretly thought, I'm back. He summoned the Dragon Coffin out. Destiny immediately became excited. "Master, thank you." His figure moved and directly merged into the Dragon Coffin. Immediately, a dragon's roar came from the Dragon Coffin, and a blinding light flashed. The Dragon Coffin returned to its position. At the same time, the system sounded out. "Ding! System notification. The Dragon Coffin has evolved. Do you wish to start?" Long Fei vaguely remembered that Dragon Coffin could evolve, and it was just like a mutated beast. Every time he entered a new plane, he would evolve. It was time for the Dragon Coffin to evolve as well. Long Fei didn't think much of it and immediately said, "Activate." A progress bar appeared in the system, and the progress was very slow. In this situation, the evolved version was usually super powerful. Long Fei secretly looked forward to it. The brute devil of Western regions flew down and said, "I never thought that a single gathering of heroes would turn out like this. More than half of the powerhouse were dead or injured, and even more so, all of the middle-class elites died. The power of the entire Western regions regressed for at least 100,000 years. Powerhouse of God's tribe will kill all of Western regions from the universal realm. The weak were slaves. However, if it couldn't even be considered weak, then there was no need for it to exist. Western regions was like this now. In the universal realm, the Western regions wasn't even considered weak as an ant and could only be reduced to a low-level plane. Then again, if two God tribes were to die here, they would definitely get angry. Long Fei tensed up slightly as he looked at the tattered arena. There were only a few people left in 10 sects, and they were all leaving as if they had lost their souls. Only a few old geezers remained from the first-tier sections. The other sects had all died out by now. The strength of ancient devil elephant S and the strength of their divine wings were something that only a few could withstand. The Western regions was heavily injured. Long Fei asked, "Then what we do now?" Brute Devil of Western Regions said, "The Western regions cannot stay any longer. They must leave. If not, I am afraid they will disappear forever. I have already sent a message to inform the Magic Tribe, to let them quickly enter the North Desert Domain." To the North Desert Domain? Long Fei was slightly taken aback. Brute Devil of Western Regions said, "This is our only way out. If we were to stay in Western regions, we would either be killed by Powerhouse of God's tribe, or we would be separated into lower realms. This kind of thing has happened before in Universal Realm, and the Powerhouse of God's tribe is much stronger than you can imagine. The separated plane is only a type of high-level magic space spell." The Demon Lord asked, "What are you planning to do? If you don't have any plans, come with me and enter the North Desert Domain. We'll join hands." He really needed a talent like Long Fei. The strength Long Fei had displayed could definitely hold a foothold in North Desert Domain. The Demon Lord looked at Long Fei with blazing eyes. At this moment, wow, the ancient devil elephant roared. Rumble, thunderclap, raged as he frantically tried to escape, as if he had seen a ghost. Ancient devil elephant are creatures of the ancient world. How powerful are they? If any powerhouse were to appear in front of him, he wouldn't be this scared, but just now, he was so scared that he trembled and immediately fled. It was also at this time, Black and White suddenly shouted, "It's about to begin. Don't tell me it's increasing?" The old devil disdainfully said, "Such a huge magic space spell. How much ancient energy did it use?" Black and White said, "I already said, as long as we make a move, don't tell me your numbers will immediately increase. I just didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Kid, there's no time to hesitate. Hurry up and run. If you don't run away now, you'll disappear from this world forever. This is not an ordinary magic space spell. This is a kind of plain devouring technique. Once it is cut apart and swallowed, you will never be able to come out. This is the power of the ancient world. Quick, run." The two Shrine S fell. The God's tribe was furious. The two Shrine S fell. The God's tribe was furious. He did not send any more Powerhouse S, but used the most direct and brutal way to settle everything. Western regions. There was no need to exist. Space Slicer. Begin. Rumble. Rumble. Enshrine. On top of a mountain, an incomparably large reincarnation formation started to revolve. It was just like a super machine in his previous life. The Samsara formation began to spin. The huge vortex type was a small vortex connected to the outer space. Buzz. The moment they entered human realm upon heavens, the energy once again surged into the ancient world. Rumble. Rumble. Ancient world's energy was absorbed and started to revolve, entering the array in large amounts. An extremely strong cutting force was born from this. The ancient world was the parent world. Her strength could determine the survival of any plane. The universal realm was no exception. Universal realm was a plane where one could cut and remove them. As for the God's tribe, since they were able to control the power of the ancient world, they could do as they pleased. As long as there was a place that annoyed them, they could wipe this place out forever. This was the reason why the people of the world feared the God's tribe's might. In the primordial 9 regions, only God's tribe's heavenly territory remained in the sky. The heavenly territory was the closest to the ancient world, and it was like a barrier that tightly controlled everything. Be it the energy of the ancient world or the ancient power that was produced by the ancient world, both were in the hands of the powerhouse of God's tribe. Absolute control. He was also absolutely powerful. Cutting plain. Do you want to discuss such a big matter with the Emperor Xian? Qingyi and the Divine Wings are dead. They're the direct disciples of the Emperor Xian. This is already considered a declaration of war on the God's tribe. And God's tribe's death is enough for me to kill him 10,000 times. All living things on Western regions deserve to die. Several elders were discussing on the reincarnation mountain. Since the Emperor Xian was not here, they had to make a ruling on the real Western regions. They could not let the Western regions continue to exist. Kill. Within the Samsara array, the energy was like fire as it began to madly roar out. Several elders channeled their power into their hearts at the same time. Next, the energy of the ancient world in the array shot straight at Western regions like a gigantic beam of light. The beam of light pierced through the sky as it shot through the 9 realms of grand mist. Everyone looked up at it. Ancient energy. This energy, is it used to cut through planes? This is the power of the reincarnation array. Does the God's tribe want to destroy a place? Where is it? Who can make God's tribe this angry? It's been so many years, but there's still no one who can make God's tribe release the power of the reincarnation formation. We're dead for sure. Sigh. Against the God tribe? He is simply courting death. Not only is he courting death, he is also implicating others. What is the point in doing this? God's tribe. Many people felt helpless. The power of the reincarnation cut stirred, causing the heaven and earth to tremble. Powerhouse looked up. Their eyes were filled with fear, helplessness, and unwillingness. No one knew if the God's tribe would suddenly kill them where they were. The feeling of being in the hands of someone else was too unbearable. However, but he couldn't get rid of it. This was because of an unshakable existence in the God's tribe. After all these years, countless powerhouses and sects have resisted, but the final result was destruction. Somewhere, the human emperor raised his head and looked at the beam of light in the sky. Seems like S image appeared in his mind. The human emperor couldn't help but chuckle to himself. Hee. Kid, you must be the one behind this, right? You have already forced God's tribe to such a state. Haha, so powerful. Seems like the good days for God's tribe are coming to an end. Tang Rinja stood by the human emperor's side with the dog husky on his shoulder. He also said excitedly, Boss, we are coming. Wait for us. Dragon Abyss Dungeon. Long Zhanting raised his eyes. Although he could not see the beam of light piercing through the sky, he could feel the energy undulations from the ancient world. Kid, are you able to stand up to the God's tribe? Long Zhanting became excited, raised his head, and roared. Long Wushan, did you see that? Even God's tribe is being scared. You scum of the Dragon Clan. Coward, is being a dog of the God's tribe so satisfying? Haha, Long Zhanting cursed. However, when he roared, the dragon lock chain on his body started to move, moving from his body one by one. The wound was torn. Blood gushed out. Ha ha! Long Zhanting laughed madly, and in less than half a second, his entire body was drenched in blood. It was as if he couldn't feel the pain. He looked at the sky and murmured, Wan Air, do you see it? Our children are beginning to fight against the God's tribe. His eyes were filled with longing. Universal Realm. Destiny's sect. As a beam of light enveloped them, the entire western regions began to tremble violently, just like a magnitude 10 earthquake. Mountains collapsed and the ground cracked. True essence was in a state of chaos, and all of the laws of this plane were beginning to crumble. The western regions is going to disappear. Brute devil of western regions' face sank. It's too fast. It came too fast. This time God's tribe is really angry. Long Fei. There's no time. I must leave this place now. Otherwise, I will really die here. Brute devil of western regions' face turned pale. Moreover, he was not confident at all in his heart. He was still a long way from North Desert Domain. Unless he reached the Great Jizun realm, there was no way he could make it there. Long Fei said, No, Even if I have to leave, I will bring my brother with me. Just when Long Fei wanted to go to Destiny's sect, Xin Yuan Li Air and the others rushed over. Boss, are you all right? Big brother Long Fei. Boss. Everyone quickly walked to Long Fei's side. Senior Mia stared at Long Fei, both his eyes brimming with vitality, his eyes releasing a light aura, as though he was a gay man staring at a gay friend. That gaze. Long Fei was a little uncomfortable and said, Senior, haha, that's right. Yes, I can't see anything. Senior Mia let out an excited cry, looked at Long Fei and asked, You're the one called Long Fei? Long Fei nodded and said, Is there a problem? Senior Mia said, very arrogant. Long Fei said, Do you have any objections? Seeing this pair of elderly and young, Xiaobai immediately added a sentence and said, Boss, Senior Mia was brought over by elder swordsman. Long Fei relaxed his gaze. The old demon thought to himself, Damn, the Annihilators have appeared? Black and White said, Dragon, Tang, and the three families' descendants are about to gather. Ancient World, Long Family, Tang Clan, Annihilation. Ancient World, Long Family, Tang Clan, Annihilation. The vanguard who had blocked the Outer Space Demons back then was also one of the three strongest powers. Every single one of them was an almighty existence. Every family had its own unique power. The Tang Clan's karmic retribution. The one who exterminated the family, exterminated the evil. Long Family's body, dragon body. They were all the peak existences in the ancient world back then. In ancient times, the three families did not submit to anyone. The Long family was rebellious, fearless, and fearless. However, they did not dare to easily make enemies out of the Tang and Annihilation families. The Tang clan wholeheartedly sought to exorcise demons. The people who exterminated the family had been controlling the evil for their entire lives. When the three families were allying together, it would be time for the invasion of the Outer Space Demons. At that time, the three families would be at their peak, with numerous talents appearing and countless powerhouse. It was also because of the Tang and Ming families joining them that Long family was able to barely enter the seal. But that battle, the realm war, heavy casualties, whether it was the Long family, Tang, or the extermination of the two families, all of their clansmen had been struck down by this apocalyptic blow. Long family barely managed to hold on, but he was also going downhill. But whether it was the Tang clan or the annihilation of their clan, they were all nostalgic for the time when the three clans had joined hands to fend off external enemies. This was their supreme glory. The descendants of the three families gathered once more, Black and White. Of course, Long Fei did not hear the old devil's conversation with the Black and White. The brute devil of Western regions said anxiously, At this point in time, we shouldn't talk about this anymore. As he spoke, a gloomy gaze stared at him. His aura seemed to have been suppressed in an instant, and a magic suction was completely crushed. He raised his gaze and looked straight at Tang Long. Tang Long stared straight at brute devil of Western regions and said indifferently, Demon. His right hand moved and grabbed the sword hilt. This guy was innately resistant to magic. If he were to meet a demonic cultivator, he would immediately sense them. Brute devil of Western regions' eyes turned sinister. So what if I am? Buzz! Tang Long immediately pulled out his sword. Long Fei was immediately blocked and said, Not all the devils are bad people. Now, do not worry about that. Everyone is already here. Think about how to leave now. Seeing Long Fei blocking Tang Long, the sword tip of the sword also rushed out, staring straight at Tang Long, not allowing him to do anything. Ever since he had come out of the deity statue, the tip of his sword had been madly chasing him. He was extremely depressed. Tang Long, this guy, it could only be described as a monster. The senior Mia watched as the beam of light in the sky exploded and said slightly, This is God's tribe's reincarnation formation, borrowing the ancient world's power to devour and cut open the created plane. All living beings within this range will be engulfed. This is the first time I've seen the God's tribe use this power in so many years. Long Fei asked, Can you block it? Senior Mia shook his head. It can't be stopped unless you can mobilize the entire ancient world. Otherwise, there's no way to stop it. Tandapeo became anxious and said, "Since we can't stop them, then what are we talking about here? Quickly run, everyone." Xiaobai immediately said, "Boss, Elder Swordsman isn't here yet." The seated person immediately looked towards the Destiny City. Long Fei asked, "What situation is this? Who can stop Elder Swordsman?" This old man didn't look very good. He was carrying a smoke gun, but this guy was an awesome person in Fairy Sword Sect, and he had the power of ancient inheritance. Who could stop him? The feeling the Elder Swordsman gave Long Fei was so strong that he could not see clearly. The senior Mie said, "The might of one of the 8 great experts of the shrine, Hu Wei, just now released the power of 3 Emperor Xian's from the sky, and one of them was released by him. Now that the battle on the side of the Destiny sect has stopped, the victor should have already been decided." While they were talking, his brows secretly tightened as he started to worry for the Elder Swordsman. Rumble, rumble! The sky exploded and was crazily being sliced by the beam of light. Western regions shook intensely. At the same time, countless people died instantly, without any warning, as if fate had been reaped. Due to the chaos of a law, people could no longer survive. Demon, beast, flowers, plants, every living creature was withering and dying. The western regions had become a dead zone. The sea was thirsty, the mountains were crumbling, and even the sky was crumbling. The mother world was too powerful. It could give birth to planes, but it also had the power to destroy planes. The entire western regions was in the midst of death. Everyone was wailing, but, however, there was one person who was incomparably excited. The ancient demon that escaped in the seal. Evil Ghost. He was crazily absorbing all kinds of auras of death. Undead beings, his power was growing stronger by the moment. The sky was collapsing, and he was also absorbing. More and more powerful. This time, the planar cut was completely devoted to his service. His strength was unprecedented. Death. Come down crazily, waha. The more I die, the stronger I become. Rumble, rumble. Dark clouds covered the sky, crazily rushing towards Destiny's sect. Whoosh! When Elder Swordsman's figure landed, blood was hanging from the corner of his mouth. His face was pale as he said, "I never thought that the 8 great experts would actually bring the Emperor Xian's power here. I almost broke my old bones." Elder Swordsman's breathing quickened. Long Fei replied respectfully, "Elder Swordsman." Elder Swordsman slightly said, "Don't say any more. Let's quickly leave Western regions. Western regions is already starting to collapse. If we were any later, it would have been too late." "All right." Long Fei nodded. Following that, the idea moved. "Fire Unicorn, have you finished resting?" Boom! Fire Unicorn rushed out of War Pet space. The flames on his body had turned purplish-blue, and his level had risen. "Use your fastest speed to take them away." The Fire Unicorn said, "Understood." Long Fei looked at them and said, "Quickly go up." Queen of Blood Moon did not delay any further. He turned around and rode on the Fire Unicorn. She would never give Long Fei any trouble, and she knew what she had to do at any time. Seeing the Queen of Blood Moon coming up, Lan Mei, Su Su, and the others all mounted it. The 3 Mei sisters said softly, "Night King." There were a lot of people from the Night Valley clan, so there were a lot of people from the Ghastly Cave. There was simply no room for a single Fire Unicorn, and there were also people from the Brute Devil of Western regions. Brute Devil of Western regions also frowned. With his speed, he would never be able to get out of Western regions. Long Fei said, "Everyone leave." And then Long Fei moved again and said, "Azure Dragon, Sacred Ancestral." Roar! The Azure Dragon in the Emperor armor soared into the sky. It was incomparably huge. Not to mention a few hundred people, even tens of thousands of people wouldn't be a problem. Senior Mie's eyes darkened. Tang Long's eyes also released a strange light. Elder Swordsman became excited. Dragon, a super dragon of the Holy Dragon rank. This old man has never seen such a high-level dragon in his life. "Hurry up, stop talking nonsense." Let's leave western regions first. Just as Long Fei finished speaking, the dark clouds churned as they rumbled. Leave? Ha ha ha. None of you should even think of leaving. It's here. Black clouds covered the sky. Black clouds covered the sky. It enveloped the entire western regions. He continued to absorb the aura of the undead. Every death increased his strength. The sect disciples who had died at the meeting hall were all being absorbed. Their souls seemed to have been extracted from their bodies. Even though they were already dead, they were still letting out waves of painful wails. This voice, it was like the ghosts in hell were crying. Wahaha! No one can escape. This place has already been devoured. None of you can escape. The evil voices resounded in the dark clouds. It was like the voice from the heavens. The old demon thought to himself, "Ancient devil." Black and White also exclaimed, "We helped this kid." I never thought that not only did the God's tribe release the spatial devouring technique for the reincarnation formation, the ancient devil was also stimulated. Is this helping him or harming him? The old demon disdainfully said, "Don't say such nonsense." Black and White laughed bitterly, then said, "Brat, this ancient demon should be the evil devil king who controlled the seal of death back then. A single primal is enough for him to be reborn and become his slave. The collapse of the western regions and the countless undead have made him stronger than he ever was. Although he hasn't reached that realm yet, he's already very strong. It's very difficult to deal with him." Black and White said, "Rumble, rumble." The black clouds started to churn crazily like boiling water. The entire sky above Destiny's sect turned dark, leaving only the small piece above his head. Moreover, not only the power of the evil devil king, the western regions had also collapsed. The Heaven's Mandate Mountain had collapsed in a frenzy as bottomless chasms appeared on the ground. The power of the God's tribe was being devoured. The power of the evil devil king was also being reaped. A mere evil being dares to show off its might in front of me. Break for me. Boom! The purplish-blue flames on the fire unicorn's body burned crazily, directly shooting into the sky. Long Fei immediately shouted, "Don't go." The fire unicorn ignored him. Just now, he had swallowed several billion grand mist crystals, and the huge energy had evolved his body and made it level up. This was the time for his performance. Thus, he did not listen to Long Fei's orders. He directly charged into the black cloud. Buzz! The black cloud rolled and instantly swallowed the fire unicorn. Less than 3 seconds. Boom! The flames on the fire unicorn's entire body extinguished and it fell from midair. After leveling up, the fire unicorn would be at least at the late stage overlord level, but it wouldn't be able to hold on for 3 seconds. The Azure Dragon ancestor flew into a rage and was about to release the power of his King Star Dragon armor. But Long Fei immediately stopped him and said, "Azure Dragon, don't move." He still had to borrow the speed of the Green Dragon to send these people to the North Desert domain. If the Green Dragon was injured again, they would all die here. The Azure Dragon's sacred ancient cannot move. The fire unicorn fell to the ground. Its body curled up as it breathed its last. Su released the healing elf's power from his body, causing dozens of elf fruits to land on the fire unicorn's body. Only then did the fire unicorn barely survive. Blood trickled out of the corner of Su's mouth. He had used force just now to injure the Destiny City. Long Fei felt his heart ache and immediately said, "Elder Swordsman, send these people out first." Elder Swordsman asked, "What do you want to do?" Long Fei watched as the last piece of the sky above him was eroded by darkness, and the entire world became pitch black like a solar eclipse. The darkness also became denser and denser, and in the end, it would be completely engulfed by darkness. Elder Swordsman nodded and said, "All right, then I'll go first." In an instant, Elder Swordsman flew out like a sharp sword. His body floated in midair. The sword's shadow moved. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Tens of thousands of sword chis of tens of thousands of zhang in length appear behind him, spreading out like a fan as sword lights flew in all directions. Humph! Ha! The evil devil king laughed sinisterly. You lowly beings, you are unworthy of living. Die for me. Boom! Amidst the black clouds, a black palm came slamming down. Elder swordsman raised his eyes. The clothes on his body fluttered like a sword immortal. His hands formed a seal. Looking at the huge palm, his sword chi suddenly stirred. Kill! At the same time, Long Fei crazily urged them on. All of you get on the back of the green dragon. Quickly. Immediately. Immediately. Faster. There was no time left. Even if he broke through the power of the evil devil king, he still had the power of spatial absorption. Long Fei's anger was suppressed. God's tribe, I'll damn your ancestors. Everyone quickly flew onto the back of the green dragon. The azure dragon soared into the sky. Long Fei stood on top of the green dragon's head. Let's go. With a swing of its huge green dragon tail, it rose into the air. Black clouds rolled down from the sky. The elder swordsman frantically tried to block as the 10,000-foot long sword chi crazily slashed down like a bunch of giants. But even so, the black clouds coming from all directions were too strong. He could not hold on for much longer. Senior Mia laughed and said, Elder Swordsman Ghost, I'll accompany you. Buzz! The power on his body exploded, and the aura on his body immediately turned into another type of aura, the power of exterminating evil. Evil Devil King immediately felt the power from Senior Mia's body. You're from Annihilation of the Family? Ha ha ha! The person who exterminated the family should be dismembered into 10,000 pieces. Evil Devil King's huge face was imprinted in the black clouds. His eyes turned sinister as he growled sinisterly. Descent of the infernal realm. All of you die. The black cloud suddenly pressed down. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Under the pressure of layer after layer of black clouds, countless ghost soldiers and generals like these black clouds appeared and rushed out crazily like the 18 layers of hell. And every single one of them was from the Overlord Realm S. Elder Swordsman and Senior Mia both frantically opened a path in front of the dragon's head. No, this guy's strength is getting stronger every second. That damnable God's tribe, I'll grant him that wish right away. If not for God's tribe's spatial devour, this fellow wouldn't have been able to become stronger so quickly. Right now, all the deaths in the western regions are his power. Long Fei, we can't go out like this. Elder Swordsman quickly said, Descent of the Infernal Realm. The place where Long Fei and the rest where it was turned into hell. The ghosts and ghosts that had died roared and pounced towards the green dragon nonstop. If he wanted to charge out now, it was even more difficult. The Azure Dragon idea moved and said, I want to activate the power of my forging Dragon King armor. Long Fei said, Don't move. Whether or not you can send these people out is all up to you. Until the last moment, don't use your power recklessly. The Azure Dragon Sacred Ancient said, Then now, there's no time at all. The western regions is already collapsing. There's only half a minute left. There's just too little time. If even this black cloud can't break out of here, then there's no need to talk about the power of space devouring. Now, 1 foot in hell. Long Fei looked at Elder Swordsman and Senior Mia who were struggling to hold on. Both of his eyes looked at the system, gritting his teeth. Fuck. I'm going all out. Bring it on. Grand Miss Tyrant Body Mode. Open for me. Grand Miss Tyrant Body Mode. A special reward from the system. Grand Miss Tyrant Body Mode. A special reward from the system. 10 times attack, 10 times speed, 10 times defense, 10 times savagery. All his attributes were increased by 10 times. Furthermore, it was an unrelenting tempo that wouldn't stop until one of them died. This was supposed to be a big gift Long Fei prepared for the Emperor Xian, but now, he couldn't think of any other way. Ordinary strength was not enough to deal with it. Boom, boom, boom. Intense rumbling sounds continuously exploded out from Long Fei's body. Strength. It was rolling and surging crazily. Elder Swordsman looked at Long Fei. What did you do? Senior Mia was also shocked. How did you suddenly become so powerful? What a pure power. Haha. This soul definitely has an extremely strong power. Evil Devil King laughed sinisterly. The strength of Long Fei's body was already burning. His entire body was burning, as if he was standing in the middle of a flame. Buzz! Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly and looked at Evil Devil King's huge face. I am your 8th-generation ancestor. Azure Dragon, follow me. He took a step on the spot. Long Fei instantly rushed forward. Boom! The moment he rushed out like a meteor into the black cloud, Long Fei moved both his fists and started to frantically attack the black cloud. Ah! Bang, 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 bang. The black cloud continued to dissipate. He was constantly retreating. The green dragon followed closely behind Long Fei, relying on Long Fei to carve out a path. Both fists led the way. He used all his strength to strike it. He forcefully formed a path for Black Cloud to walk, but Evil Devil King did not worry. He only laughed heartily. Ha ha! His strength is indeed pure. Since you have revealed just a tiny bit of the power that the people of Long family possessed back then. Ha! The souls of the Long family people are our great tonic. Evil Devil King laughed. You think you can escape? The ruler of this world has never thought of letting you live. I will give you a chance now. Become my slave, and you will enjoy eternal life. Long Fei said with a heavy voice. I will give you a chance. Obediently retreat, or else I will beat you to the point where your mother won't recognize you. You're courting death, Evil Devil King shouted. Do you think this kind of power will allow you to break through my domain? Long Fei said, the one seeking death is you. Since you don't agree, I will definitely kill you. Long Fei's fists exploded wildly. Every second there were over 10,000 punches thrown out. The primordial tyrant body technique was a completely crazy and abnormal mode, the attack speed reaching its limit. Evil Devil King was enraged. The dense black clouds flipped over and frantically surged out. 18 levels of hell, descend for me. Boom! The infernal domain suddenly changed and became a black tower-like structure layer, pressing down heavily on Long Fei. 18 levels of hell. I, your father, have even destroyed 18 levels of hell. So what's wrong with you? Long Fei's right arm sank. The power of the great master. Crack! Boom, boom, boom. 18 explosions rang out. Long Fei's right arm became a mechanical arm. The power of 18 ancient demons instantly erupted as well. Evil Devil King was shocked when he felt the power of the big Master Guard arm. It really is you. It's you who took care of the 18 outer space demons' ass with the second seal. Ha! I finally found you. The Evil Devil King was overjoyed. He had always been searching for the 18 brothers who were struck by the seal, and now he had finally found them. In Long Fei's big Master Guard arm, as long as he shattered the arm guard, the seal would shatter and his brothers would be able to see the light of day again. At that time, they would be able to complete the unfinished business back then. Long Fei became nervous. So you're that fish that escaped the net? All right then, I'll take you in today. Break for me. With a sinking of his right arm, the power within the big Master Guard arm exploded outwards, blasting towards the 18-level pagoda. Rumble. The 18-level pagoda was shattered. The 18 levels of hell took one strike of slay. Evil Devil King was secretly shocked. I never thought that my brothers would actually become your slaves. Their powers are all used by you. What a bunch of useless trash. Path of the Ghost. Roar. Thousands of ghosts howled. Queen of Blood Moons suddenly shouted, Long Fei, don't touch those black clouds. Evil Devil King roared sinisterly, killing God with 1,000 ghosts. Die! The dense black ghost force contained an extremely strong power. This power was something that would be nibbled away the moment it came into contact with someone's body, just like how it was highly toxic. Long Fei's eyes narrowed. The way of the ghost to kill the god. That will depend on whether you can kill my Emperor of Underworld or not. Grand Miss Tyrant Body, Emperor of Underworld, come out. Boom! The light of the curse mark around Long Fei's neck immediately exploded. Elder Swordsman's gaze darkened. Senior Mia also immediately said, Emperor Xian's curse mark. Boom! When the Emperor of Underworld appeared, the skeleton giant staff in its hand shook, and its power was like the ocean as it rolled out and blasted the thick black fog away. Long Fei ordered, "Kill him." The Emperor of Underworld flew up into the sky. The elder swordsman immediately said, "Brat, although the western regions is already in a state of collapse, if you were to release the curse mark on you for a long period of time, it would attract the attention of the heaven's eyes. At that time, even if you manage to escape, you will also be hunted down by countless powerhouse. You know, the God's tribe curse marks were all people that the God's tribe wanted to kill. The higher the level of the imprint, the more rewards one would get for killing them. This was the God's tribe game. It was like putting a sheep with a treasure into a pack of wolves. Whoever was the first to die would be the one to reveal the treasure. Long Fei did not care so much. In the future, he only wanted to rush out. The Emperor of Underworld rushed to the front of the evil Devil King and started to attack crazily. On this side, Long Fei was also crazily attacking evil Devil King, so the only way to escape was to break through his boundary. However, the Emperor of Underworld was not a match for the evil Devil King, so it could only bitterly endure. And Long Fei was also unable to destroy the boundary. They were in a deadlock for a moment. Time flew by second, which was extremely disadvantageous to Long Fei. Time is running out. The green dragon suddenly transmitted to Long Fei, "If you don't hurry, the western regions will be devoured by the black hole." Long Fei's eyes darkened. Strength. Strength. I need strength. Then, Long Fei looked at the system. Power and force. Open. Boom. Power of creation of speed. Break open for me. Double strength spraying. Open. Long Fei went crazy. He released the special powers that the system rewarded him with last time. One after another, he completely ignored everything else. Elder Swordsman was completely dumbfounded. The power of creation was to drink it like water? The heck? How abnormal is this? Azure Dragon, get ready. He gave the order. The green dragon's body was suffused with starlight. The might of the cast star dragon king armor was about to burst out. He also shouted loudly, "Everyone hurry up and grasp it." Long Fei stacked dozens of attacks on his body. His body was swelling. His skin was cracking, and blood seemed to seep out from every pore. The limits of the physical body. His body could not withstand so much power all of a sudden. It was too hard. But Long Fei gritted his teeth. Even if he had to die, he had to bring these people out. With a move of his right hand, he grabbed the long-handled falchion, and the blade ignited. The flames on Long Fei's body burned even more fiercely than before. Strength. Endless power. Evil Devil King was secretly shocked. This soul is too wonderful, huh? It's mine. Your soul is mine, huh? With both palms, he shattered the Emperor of Underworld. Then, a huge face pounced towards Long Fei, opened its huge dark mouth and swallowed towards Long Fei. You're mine, huh? Your soul is mine. Destroy. Long Fei's blade slashed down. The blade chi roared, and like a raging dragon, it directly broke through the darkness. Long Fei slashed out one more time. The two layers of blade chi intersected, forming an intersection. Long Fei's body rushed out and crazily chopped out. He continued to chop. The green dragon that was following behind Long Fei also shone with dazzling starlight, illuminating the road ahead. Kill! Kill! Anyone who obstructed Long Fei would be slashed by the blade. Countless skeleton giant faces charged at him, slashing down. But, from start to finish, evil Devil King did not lose a single drop of blood. And not only did he not lose any, the health point above his head continued to increase, and he was still frantically absorbing tens of billions of life forms within the western regions. Long Fei's attacks were completely useless against him. Boom, boom, boom. In just a few seconds, Long Fei traveled 10,000 miles on sleigh. His body's energy consumption had also reached its limit. A blade cut down, rumble. Long Fei's arm went numb, and the long-handled falchion was directly sent flying. It was caught by the evil cloud and swallowed whole. No more. Evil Devil King laughed. Have you reached your limits? It's useless. You won't be able to escape from my grasp. Obediently give up your life. I will let you live forever. Aren't you pursuing immortality? I can grant you eternal life. Obediently hand over your soul. Evil Devil King laughed sinisterly. They were now at the border. However, this boundary point could not be broken. No matter how strong he was, it was useless. The release of the ghost force was precisely the release of the power of hell. This was a kind of domain, and could also be called magic space spell. As long as one was in this domain, he would be the ruler, and no one could break it. They were now at the border point, the Hell's Barrier. Unless it was him, no one could break through him. He still had the power of 10 billion undeads of the western regions. And in that situation, Long Fei was even worse. I can't get out. Elder Swordsman, try to feel it. This is a barrier. We were wrong from the very beginning. This is a special space. This is his magic space spell. We can't kill him. Senior Mia followed to say. Evil Devil King laughed. You're right. How can you kill me in this world that I control? Magic space spell? The world you control? Long Fei laughed coldly and said, So what if you control the world? Monochrome suddenly said, Brat, don't do anything stupid. But he could not control Long Fei's body. His blood essence stirred. Drip, drip, drip. 10 drops. The blood essence fell onto the ground. The Azure Dragon ancestor's face changed as well, saying, Let's go. Long Fei roared out. His body was already on the verge of collapsing. Even his physical body couldn't withstand the consumption of this kind of power. The drop of blood essence landed on the ground. A huge pool of blood formed on the ground. Evil Devil King also felt the power in Long Fei's blood essence, and his heart sank. Space of blood essence. Your blood can actually create space? Long Fei said. You think you're the only one who knows magic space spell? I know it too. He looked at the Azure Dragon and said, Quick! The green dragon gritted his teeth as he dived into the blood pool. Lame asked, Then what will you do? Queen of Blood Moon said, Hubby! Susu immediately burst into tears. The Azure Dragon was incredibly huge, and he needed a certain amount of time to crawl out. Long Fei could not leave, so if he left, this spatial transfer technique would be gone. He could only be the last to leave. Long Fei looked at them and said, It's fine. Who am I? Looking at Long Fei, they could not help but burst into tears one after another. It was also at this time. Xinyuan Lier sat cross-legged and muttered some word in his heart. I do not know what kind of special power it is, sacred ancestor Xinyuan. If I have any, please give all of my power to Long Fei. I am willing to use my life as the price. Sir Sacred Ancestor Xinyuan, I beg of you. Xinyuan Lier kept praying. She did not know how to use the power on her body, so he could only pray to Master Xinyuan. Maybe it was because her begging was useful. It could also be because she found the key to releasing the power in her body. The strand of power on Xinyuan Lier's body was like the glow of a seed. Only she could see the form of it falling on a Long Fei's head, then entering his body. Long Fei didn't feel anything at all. Xinyuan Lier gave a light smile. At this time, her body turned soft and she fainted. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble. Many people could already hear the sound of the world being torn apart. He began to get excited. He went out, he went out. We're going out. Long Fei laughed in excitement, but the evil Devil King did not stop there. Seeing that the green dragon was about to charge out, the black clouds turned into 2 claws, fiercely grabbing onto the dragon's tail. Long Fei's body bounced and immediately flew up. The green dragon felt the pressure from the huge tail and flipped its tail. Long Fei's fists fiercely exploded out. The Azure Dragon ancestral idea moved. Forge Star Force, activate. His body was like a roaming space, his speed increasing to a terrifying level as he flew out. Buzz! The Azure Dragon left. Long Fei said excitedly, Can't rush out? Ha ha! Is it your magic space spell or mine? Little brat. Evil Devil King was very unhappy and said, They're trash compared to your soul. Even if there were 10,000 of them, they would still not be able to compare to a single you. I want you. Boom! In an instant, black clouds pressed down on the sky, sealing off the spatial gate Long Fei had released. Now, Long Fei seemed to be floating in the darkness. Evil Devil King looked at Long Fei and laughed excitedly. Are you trembling? Long Fei was the only one left in this world. It was being devoured by this endless darkness. Not only that, Long Fei's body had a huge problem. His energy was leaking in all four directions, and he could no longer endure it. He was also smiling excitedly and said, "That's what I should be asking you. Are you ready to die?" A voice rang out. A voice rang out. Evil Devil King was secretly shocked. A wave of fear rose in his heart. He could not control it at all. He did not understand. Why was Long Fei clearly in his world and unable to leave? And why was he afraid? Moreover, Long Fei's body could not hold on any longer. His strength could not do anything to himself. Why did he still dare to be so arrogant? The evil Devil King was inexplicably afraid. However, he is a super powerhouse, a plain killing machine. Was he everywhere but death or death, fear? Only others would fear him. When had he ever been afraid of anyone? Even if he was struck by the Long family seal back then, he wasn't afraid in the slightest, because he knew that sooner or later it would come back again. But this time, Evil Devil King's mind turned sinister. With a heavy sound, he said, "The one who should be dead should be you. Hand over your soul." The Evil Devil King moved. Long Fei was surrounded by 8 death gods with scythes in their hands. The scythes shone with a cold light. Their 2 empty eyes stared straight at Long Fei. The sickle moved. His soul began to reap. Long Fei's sea of consciousness shook. His primordial spirit seemed to be floating. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth continued to smile, and he said, "Azure Dragon Copper Coffin." Boom! The idea moved, and Long Fei immediately took out the ancient coffin that erupted from Qing Holy Dragon Emperor's body. Boom! With a shake, he stood beside Long Fei. The 8 death gods instantly dispersed, transforming into a black fog that vanished. Evil Devil King's eyes darkened, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Long Fei coldly laughed. "You want my soul? Are you qualified?" The Evil Devil King stared at the ancient coffin and said solemnly, "Back then in the seal, he was the one who took care of my brother's seal, right?" Long Fei said, "That's right." Evil Devil King's heart was in a mess. He looked at the ancient coffin and felt fear in his heart, however. He looked at the ancient runes on the coffin, and his heart was filled with excitement, because he knew what this ancient coffin was. What kind of power did it possess? If he could get it, then he could truly live on. This ancient coffin was the eternal coffin. He was the only one in all the worlds of the universe. If he could completely master his strength, there would be no one in this world who could stop him, but he didn't know why he was here. Evil Devil King did not understand. His heart yearned for eternal life, and he said solemnly, "Brat, hand this coffin over to me, and I will let you leave, and I can even keep you alive for 10 years. Don't be in such a hurry to answer. This is my world. I know just how weak your body is right now. Even if you have God's tribe elixir S, you still wouldn't be able to save yourself. I can save you. It will also allow you to instantly break through and reach Overlord Realm. I can even guarantee that you won't die for 10 years. I believe no one can refuse this condition." Evil Devil King looked at Long Fei. He was acting very sincerely. If possible, he really wanted to do this. This coffin was an ancient divine object. With it, he could live forever. Even though he had lived for so many years, so many that he didn't even know how many years, but he could only live by constantly devouring soul force. Once it came to soul force, he would die. In the universe, even the kings of a world, Star King, Domain King, and even the masters of the universe had a certain limit to their lifespan. Even at his limit, he would still die. However, as long as he could obtain this eternal coffin, he would truly be able to live an eternal life, an immortal existence. time no longer has any meaning for Eternal Coffin to enjoy an endless lifespan. You can cultivate endlessly, even with talent. As long as you have endless time, you can still become strong. Long Fei did not know that the ancient coffin beside him was an eternal coffin. He only knew that this coffin was extremely powerful. But as for how powerful it was, I don't know. The last time he came out of the Divine Dusk secret world, Long Fei had thought about it for a long time, thinking about the word primeval all the time. This was a super almighty powerhouse of ancient times on Earth. The pillar of purple chi he gave was swallowed by the ancient coffin, and it was completely fine. If Long Fei were to absorb it himself, his body would probably be blown into dust. In here, Long Fei was unable to control him. The reason why she could summon him out was because that's what he meant. Long Fei laughed faintly and said, "It seems like this coffin is very important to you." Evil Devil King pretended to be calm and said, "I am a ghost cultivator, and the coffin is the best place for me to cultivate. Of course it is important to me." Long Fei said, "It's just that whether you're important or not is none of my business." Evil Devil King's eyes tensed up. "Brat, killing you is easy. Even if I don't do anything, your body won't be able to hold on for long. You'll die very soon. I can save you, but your life is in my hands. Do you understand? If I tell you to die, you will die." Long Fei said, "I eat everything except threats. And what do you think I stayed for?" After saying that, the smile on Long Fei's face turned sinister. Western Regions' strongest boss. No matter what, he could not let it go. When Evil Devil King saw Long Fei's evil smile, his heart sank again. Long Fei said, "I won't eat any alcohol, I just want to eat your life." Evil Devil King's eyes turned sinister. "You actually refused it, then die." Boom! This time, he used all of his powers. Initially, he knew that Long Fei would not be able to escape and did not use his full strength, but now he could not wait. As long as he killed Long Fei, the eternal coffin would be his. The killing intent rushed towards Long Fei from all directions. Long Fei stood where he was and did not move an inch. He only placed one of his hands on the coffin. At this moment, the coffin began to tremble. It was as if a monster had awoken. The entire coffin began to tremble, and the entire dark space started to tremble, as if it was unable to control itself. Long Fei's heart was also somewhat shaken, because when he took out this coffin from the body of the Azure Dragon Emperor, he did not dare to face it, nor did he dare to open the coffin. He had always been curious, but he had never dared to open it. Now, Long Fei placed one hand on top of the coffin, looked at the endless darkness, and said softly, "Come, let this world tremble for you." His right hand moved. He slowly opened the coffin. Crash! Voila! A slight, ear-piercing sound exploded in the darkness as the power from the coffin burst out. The light was blinding. The dark hell became a paradise of light. At this moment, Evil Devil King let out a blood-curdling scream. Ah! Incomparable pain. The infernal realm had become a paradise. The infernal realm had become a paradise. The dazzling golden light made Long Fei unable to open his eyes. At this moment, the ancient coffin beside him looked like a monster had rushed out. Evil Devil King let out a blood-curdling scream. It was an extremely miserable scream of pain. And at this moment, whoosh! Bam! The coffin closed, the golden light faded, and the world returned to normal. However, the darkness of the Evil Devil King was gradually fading as the thick black fog dispersed. One move, Slay. Long Fei was stunned. His eyes were in a daze, because the blood grooves on the top of Evil Devil King's head were reducing crazily. Evil Devil King was struggling non-stop to absorb the Western Regions' undead, but it was completely useless. He was completely unable to stop the loss of HP. F***CK. This is an instant kill. Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue, a little confused. Looking at the coffin beside him, he felt even more afraid. At this moment, even the old demon in black white did not make a sound, as if the sound would be devoured by the ancient coffin at this time. Long Fei did not feel the energy that exploded out just now, but the two of them faintly sensed it. That could not be described with the word powerful. It was so powerful that it could explode, as if they had never seen such power before. Old ghost, did we hear wrong just now? Eternal coffin, is there really such a thing? The old demon cautiously asked after the ancient coffin stabilized. He didn't even dare to make too much noise, afraid that he would anger the ancient coffin. What kind of arrogant person was the old devil? The number one demon from ancient times. Heaven is not afraid. Lord of the earth is not afraid. But now, he also had to crawl on the ground and tremble, not daring to provoke that ancient coffin. Black and White also carefully replied, I don't know. After all, the ancient world is extremely small in the entire universe. The eternal coffin only exists in legends. No one has ever seen it. The old demon suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, if it really is the eternal coffin, then this kid is really crazy. Monochrome did not speak. He wasn't thinking the same as the old devil. The eternal coffin is just a coffin that can grant people eternal life. It has unimaginable power, however. Was the monster that rushed out of the coffin an eternal coffin? It's the guardian of the eternal coffin? Or could it be, this eternal coffin had a master? His master was resting inside the coffin? As the black and white memory of the scene in the divine graveyard of God surfaced, Qing Holy Dragon Emperor was pulling this coffin along. I have to find the Azure Dragon Emperor's dragon soul and ask him about it. He knew that Qing Holy Dragon Emperor's dragon soul had fled. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed the Azure Dragon Sacred Ancestor to stay by Long Fei's side. Rumble, 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 wah. The evil Devil King crazily self-destructed as he cried out in pain non-stop. He stared at Long Fei and gnashed his teeth. Even if I have to die, I will drag you along into hell with me. Path of the Ghost. Reincarnation. His HP continued to drop crazily, with an unstoppable momentum. However, as long as his health had not dropped, evil Devil King was not dead yet. The black mist roiled and the world began to spin. The ghost force crazily surged and crazily smashed downwards, forming a gigantic reincarnation vortex and rushing towards Long Fei from all directions. Long Fei's eyes tensed up. He looked at the unmoving ancient coffin at the side. He did not know if he should make a move again and could not help but ask, Big brother, do you want to make a move again? Long Fei used all of his strength, but was unable to cause any harm to the evil Devil King. Now that the evil Devil King was in a berserk state, he struggled even before his death, his strength becoming even more ferocious, just like how he tried to pull Long Fei to his death. Hence Long Fei was even less able to fight against him. However, the ancient coffin remained motionless, as if it had no intention of attacking. Long Fei frowned and muttered, You only used one move? F***CK. Isn't that too little? At least 2 moves. Long Fei was a little angry, seeing that the devils in all directions were about to rush over. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Since the ancient coffin didn't want to help, he didn't beg any further. Was not good at begging. Come. Long Fei also let out a heavy roar as the strength in his body began to burn. Boom, boom. The force formed into an aura, wrapping around his body. Long Fei leaped out. But right at this moment, an enormous wave of energy directly sucked Long Fei in. Long Fei's body could not move at all. Turning his head to look, he only saw that the ancient coffin had released a burst of energy, which immediately bound him and bound his entire body. Its energy had also disappeared, crushing, disappearing without a trace. Long Fei was startled. What do you want to do? There was something wrong with Long Fei's body. Just now, the various powers had filled his body, exceeding the limits of what his body could endure, and his body was close to collapse. The spring of life was crazily repairing itself, as were the bodies of the stars. But the ancient coffin had suddenly released a power that directly crushed Long Fei's astral body, causing the power of the spring of life to instantly explode, Thus, the two powers were immediately lost. Long Fei's body suddenly seemed to be cut off. He did not understand why the ancient coffin would do this. He was motionless now. As long as the power of the evil Devil King came down, he would definitely die. Spring of life. Boss, my strength isn't enough at all. What's going on? Ancient Devil Tree. Boss, the power of the stars is also quickly disappearing. I can't hold on at all. Long Fei asked. Black and white. Old demon. What's the situation? Monochrome was also struggling bitterly, saying, just like them, my strength has been suppressed as well. I can't move a bit. The old demon was the same. He said angrily, damn, this coffin can't be trying to kill us all, right? Ruh. Long Fei felt a chill in his heart. None of them knew what kind of eternal coffin he was. What was that monster inside the coffin? No one knew. What was his purpose? That was even more unknown. Ever since he had forcefully swallowed the primal chaos realm's purple clouds, he had become different. Long Fei asked heavily, what exactly do you want? You want my life? The ancient coffin did not say anything. He did not speak, but his strength suddenly changed. Buzz! It directly entered his body. The ancient devil tree was immediately blasted out of Long Fei's body, turned into an enormous tree, and flew into the air. A howl. The ancient devil tree left his body. Boss! The spring of life let out a cry as well, but before his voice had even faded away, he was also forcibly pushed away by a force and was sent flying into the air. Two consecutive forces left his body. Long Fei's mind became sinister. This is my body. Try moving another one. However, his words were completely useless. The old devil's body sank, and he released a burst of flames. I don't believe that you can touch me. Not waiting for him to finish. The old demon was also blasted out of Long Fei's body. The three were blasted away. The three were blasted away. Even the number one ancient demon was forced out like this, completely immobilized. In front of this power of the ancient coffin, he was like a 3-year-old child. The number one demon from ancient times? The old demon was being squeezed out of Long Fei's body. He still wanted to struggle, but the force was like a cannon shooting into the sky, bringing him into the air in an instant. He disappeared, and only heard a voice from the sky. I will definitely return, ancient devil tree, an ancient tree. The spring of life was the same as the spring of life in the ancient world, was pushed out of Long Fei's body. The number one ancient demon, the super powerhouse of the ancient world, one of the peak powerhouses of the past, had all been sent flying by the power released from the ancient coffin. Now, all that was left was the power of the black and white. The black and white pupils tightened as they looked at Long Fei and said, I definitely cannot resist it either. I don't know what he is planning to do, but it is very possible that he is trying to rob you. Brat, you are the person my boss has chosen. You cannot die. If you die, then everything will be gone. If he wants to rob you, then you must guard your heart firmly. If your heart doesn't die, there will definitely be a chance to make a comeback. Remember, this is your only chance. Black and White spoke very quickly. He was afraid that before he could finish, he would be sent flying by the ancient coffin. Then, the black and white beast were like an angry beast as they roared. Come. Boom. With a slight movement of his power, the black and white were wrapped up and sent flying out of his body. Boom. Boom. Black and white also left Long Fei's body and were brought into the void. Right now, there were only dying fire unicorn left in Long Fei's body, the dragon coffin that was still evolving. Long Fei said, I do not know what you're trying to do. I'm probably not your opponent now, but either kill me, do not give me any chance, or else I will turn 8 times your ancestor. The ancient coffin still didn't speak. However, fire unicorn and evolving dragon coffin were not blasted out of their bodies like black and white. But the ancient coffin's power suddenly surged into the depths of Long Fei's soul. Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. System. Tightening his body, he clenched his fists tightly. Ever since he teleported to this world, only he knew about the system. Even if he knew that he relied on killing monsters to level up, he did not know about the existence of the system. To them, the system was a special existence. They would not understand, even if they were told about it. Now, did the ancient coffin sense it? Long Fei's mind trembled. He held his breath and did not speak. He was not happy with the system implanting, but no matter how unhappy he was, it was still his business. Even if he wanted to get the system to come out, he would have to do it himself and not anyone else. Moreover, the power from the ancient coffin poured into his soul, causing him to feel completely naked. The last secret he had was gone. Long Fei gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. Suddenly, the veins on Long Fei's forehead bulged, and his eyes stared angrily. His eyeballs seemed as if they were going to pop out, and they were smeared with blood, as if his soul was about to leave his body from the pain. His entire body began to tremble. The brain is going crack. Long Fei looked as if he was about to die. What the F ** K are you trying to do? Your F ** K. It was too painful, an indescribable pain. The feeling of something being squeezed out of the soul was like a blade being squeezed out of a blood vessel. That feeling could no longer be described as pain. At this time, the ancient coffin suddenly said 2 words, samsara. What reincarnation? I don't need reincarnation. Long Fei bellowed. He hated the existence of the system a lot of times, but he had relied on the game system to reach his current state. Without the system, he might not be anything. He might have died long ago. Now, Long Fei really didn't want to pull the system out from the depths of his soul. But, regardless of whether he agreed or not, the ancient coffin still did not care. Another wave of violent energy surged into Long Fei's soul. Long Fei could not hold back and roared, "Fuck you, huh?" The ancient coffin continued to do its own thing. He did not care about Long Fei's pain, but instead poured even more power into him. He continuously poured his energy into Long Fei's soul in an attempt to force that special energy out of Long Fei's soul. However, strangely enough, no matter how hard he tried, the special energy within Long Fei's soul did not budge an inch. There was nothing like black, white, and the others that could not be pushed out. The ancient coffin was very confused. I don't believe it. Who can stop me? Amidst the pain, Long Fei said, "Your sister. Can you stop messing with me? I don't want any reincarnation. So lousy will be my own. What the F ** is reincarnation." Long Fei could still feel that the system had not left. However, everything in the system began to become chaotic. Once the system was in chaos, the one suffering would still be Long Fei, because everything that Long Fei obtained from the system would shatter, be destroyed, or even disappear immediately. The ancient coffin replied, "Reincarnation is a new life. Your current pain is only temporary. After a new life, you'll have my strength. Only by completely purifying you will you be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation." The reason why he said black and white, the old demon, the ancient devil tree, and the spring of life that blasted out of Long Fei's body, was precisely to purify his body. Only then would he be able to be reborn. Long Fei now understood and said, "I don't need to undergo reincarnation, nor do I need to cleanse myself." "Stop." The ancient coffin said, "I can't stop. It has already begun." Unknowingly, a reincarnation vortex had already appeared under Long Fei's feet. This was not the reincarnation cycle of the ghost Dao released by the evil devil king, but the reincarnation cycle of the ghost Dao was black, but the one that appeared below Long Fei's feet was purple. Holy **T. Long Fei was stunned. "Damn you. What exactly is that energy body in your soul? Why can I purify it?" The ancient coffin could not understand. The power of this world could not surpass his. Any kind of power was like an ant in front of him, but yet he could not do anything about the power inside Long Fei's soul. Somewhere else, in a mysterious domain, the host system is in chaos. What a powerful energy. "Supervisor, what do we do now? Give up on this host?" An operator quickly said in front of a large, special computer. Behind him stood a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man frowned. He was also waiting for the order, It's not easy for him to last until now, and many other system owners have failed, so he should be the one with the best performance right now. I can't give up, the operator said. Then, if we don't give up, he might die. The middle-aged man's gaze sank. At this moment, an order was transmitted into the man's mind. He immediately said, "Shut down the system." The operator's eyes widened as he exclaimed, "That's right. Why didn't I think of that?" However, once the system closes and restarts, the system might be able to initialize again. This result, the middle-aged man said, "Follow the orders from above." The operator nodded, looked at the red button, and said lightly, "Everything will be up to you. Close." The ancient coffin's power was too strong. Although it did not squeeze the system out of Long Fei's soul, it still seriously damaged the system's permission. The ancient coffin's power was too strong. Although it did not squeeze the system out of Long Fei's soul, it still seriously damaged the system's permission. It was like a microchip that had been squeezed, damaged, or its program thrown into disarray. If this continued, the AI chip would probably collapse completely, just like the system in Long Fei's mind. In here, the game system was just a test, a special kind of experiment. From Long Fei's teleportation till now, his persistence, hard work, and perseverance brought about surprise after surprise to the researchers of the system. He even saw hope from Long Fei. Thus, they didn't want to give up on Long Fei. It was also because Long Fei was the system's pioneer and would encounter all kinds of troubles. For example, the existence of the ancient coffin. It was beyond the control of the system. Long Fei was not clear about the strength of the eternal coffin, but the group of researchers were very clear about it. Ding! Do. Suddenly, as if his heart had stopped beating, Long Fei's mind was cut off, and his eyes darkened. System. The idea moved. His mind was in a state of complete nothingness, and he couldn't feel anything at all. No system interface. There are no attributes. His experience points, cultivation method, and technique. Everything was gone. Your sister. If he could win against the ancient coffin, he would definitely press the ancient coffin on the ground and ruthlessly rub it. Your father's system. My game system. Why do you say it's gone without a trace? Long Fei wanted to get angry, but the system's disappearance made him completely lose his pain. The ancient coffin was slightly surprised. He suddenly disappeared? He did not think too much and said, "You are already clean. You can begin your reincarnation now." Long Fei said angrily, "If I could, I would really like to turn you around." The ancient coffin did not have any intentions. It was as if he was not happy, angry, or sad at all, as he said indifferently, "After you have reincarnated, you will not say such things." The purple vortex beneath Long Fei's feet became larger and larger. In the depths of the vortex was a purple ray of light, just like the purple light that was emitted from the primal chaos realm. It was also at this time, seeing Long Fei not moving, evil Devil King laughed excitedly. "Ha! Come with me to hell, kid. Don't even think about getting what I can't get." The power of reincarnation of the ghost, Tao, pressed down heavily. However, the ancient coffin slightly moved. The power of the ghost Tao's reincarnation cycle was directly sucked into the reincarnation vortex. Buzz! A surge of strength struck him. The power of the samsara whirlpool became even more intense. Evil Devil King was startled. Looking at the reincarnation vortex beneath Long Fei's feet, he said, "This." Crack! The big Master Guard arm on Long Fei's arm suddenly fell to the ground. The metal split apart, and the ancient demon was sucked into the purple vortex of samsara. Boom! Yet another increase in strength. Evil Devil King was shocked. Impossible, absolutely impossible. When it is impossible, Eternal Coffin would never take the initiative to recognize someone as their master, nor would they ever start reincarnation. And Evil Devil King did not finish his sentence, but looked at Long Fei and said with a heavy voice, "Who the hell are you? You're not from Long family, so no matter how strong you are, it is impossible for you to control the Eternal Coffin." Otherwise, how could you not control it when we first entered the ancient world? Impossible, impossible. Evil Devil King seemed like he was going to explode. His scalp went completely numb. The ancient coffin said indifferently, "You think that I didn't discover you in the seal? That is to make you stronger. I need the ghost force on you as a catalyst." Evil Devil King trembled even more. "No, no, no, impossible. You obviously haven't discovered me, and you don't even understand my strength." The ancient coffin said, "The power of the 19 demons from the other realms can perfectly be combined with that woman's power just now. It just so happens that it can be activated." Long Fei immediately thought of Xian Yuan Lier. All of this seemed certain. Everything was under the control of the ancient coffin. If it weren't for the fact that Emperor Yuanshi had obtained the purple spirit energy, the ancient coffin wouldn't have been able to release such a powerful energy. Everything seemed to have been arranged on purpose. Crack! Another piece of metal from the Big Master Guard arm tore apart and fell into the purple cycle of reincarnation. Crack! Crack! The 18 pieces of Big Master Guard arm metal merged into the purple cycle. The ancient coffin looked at Evil Devil King and said, "You are the last." Evil Devil King was startled and said, "No, I won't be controlled by you. Even if I die, I won't." In an instant, the black mist that filled the sky immediately exploded, creating flames. It was as if a volcano was erupting from within the black mist. Evil Devil King chose to self-destruct. He had controlled the fate of others all his life, but he never expected that he would end up being controlled in the end. Long Fei was startled. "Damn, my boss." However, the ancient coffin said, "Self-destruct? This is the power that I want." Long Fei trembled as he looked at the ancient coffin, his heart filled with shock. Fuck, everything is within his calculations? What kind of power is this? Evil Devil King was even more unreconciled. He roared out one last time. The power of the ghost Dao's self-detonation was completely absorbed into the purple cycle of reincarnation. The sky turned into nothingness. The current universal realm no longer existed. It was completely cut off and swallowed into the darkness. The time Long Fei was currently in was completely a special plane of existence. The ancient coffin slightly said, "You're the only one left." Long Fei looked at the ancient coffin and asked, "Why me?" The ancient coffin said, "There is no why. This is a definite decision." Long Fei said, "I don't believe in life, and I don't believe in any determinations either. Why did you choose me?" Very firm. However, his resolution seemed to be somewhat powerless, because, right now, he was tightly bound by the ancient coffin's power. The ancient coffin hesitated for a moment before saying, "I see that you are too tired. I will give you a shortcut. When you return from the reincarnation cycle, everything here will prostrate at your feet." "I don't understand," Long Fei said. "That is also not a reason." The ancient coffin replied, "I will understand in the future. Go down." Long Fei wanted to struggle, but he knew that it was unnecessary. He looked at the ancient coffin and said, "If you harm me, if there is a chance, I will definitely take it back 10,000 times." He jumped down and was instantly wrapped by the purple vortex. It was also at this time. The coffin suddenly fell out, revealing a man wearing a golden mask. Seeing Long Fei jump into the reincarnation cycle, his hands formed a seal, and streams of runic power released from his body, covering the entire purple reincarnation cycle. And then, the purple light flourished. The golden masked man also jumped down and muttered, "The world only knows that the eternal coffin is a coffin, but no one knows that the person inside the coffin is Eternal Lord." However, he glanced at Long Fei, who was in the cycle of reincarnation, and smiled faintly. "You are the new Eternal Lord when you return from the reincarnation cycle." The will of the Xianyuan nationality. The will of the Xianyuan nationality. The power of the Outer space demons. The evil Devil King absorbed all the ghost force in the entire western regions. In addition, he also received a purple spirit energy from Empyrean Yuanshi. All of this, it was as if everything had been arranged for them to appear one by one to awaken the Eternal Coffin. Eternal Coffin. If he awakened once, he would change his master. When he woke up, it was also time to choose his next master. The Eternal Coffin was a coffin, and he was alone. The trillions of worlds in the universe, one and only Eternal Coffin. Even the system was almost crushed by the Eternal Coffin's power. The man with the golden mask jumped into the purple vortex, which instantly closed up, vanishing without a trace. A shooting star flashed in the night sky. The universal realm no longer had a western regions, and Long Fei was no longer in universal realm. The Azure Dragon, sacred ancestral, brought everyone to stand at the edge of the North Desert domain, looking at the endless night sky. Originally, it was the western regions' mountains, but now it had turned into nothingness. Everyone's hearts were tightly knitted together. Waiting, he looked into the distance without even blinking once. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. After half a month, the void was still void, and the night sky was still night. Nothing had changed, and no one had charged out of the void. Su sobbed until her tears dried up. Queen of Blood Moon clenched both her hands tightly. She was holding back her tears, her heart telling herself, "He will be okay. He will be okay. He will definitely be okay." Lame did not cry as well. She supported the Xianyuan Lier, who had been unconscious for half a month, and muttered to herself, "He won't die. He definitely won't." Xiaobai and Binghe floated in midair. They met once again with Long Fei for 100 years, but they were still unable to help Long Fei. Too weak. Still too weak. Elder Swordsman suffered a heavy injury. His face was pale, and looking afar, he said, "He's not coming back." Senior Mia let out a long sigh. "Long family brat," Tang Long muttered. "As expected, I am the lone star of the calamity, and none of the people I follow have a good ending." Tandapeo felt very uncomfortable. His heart felt as if it had been bombarded. If he could, he would be willing to die in Long Fei's place. But he didn't even have the chance. Brute Devil of Western Regions said lightly, "It's already been half a month. He shouldn't be able to return. He's gone. We still have to walk our path." Tandapeo immediately shouted out, "What do you mean? What do you mean he's not here anymore? My boss will definitely not die." He glared furiously. An elder of the magic tribe shouted, "You dare to speak to the demon lord like that?" Tendapeo's heart was filled with anger. He did not care who you were, and angrily said, "Demon lord? Without my boss, you would have been dead long ago." "You," Tandapeo bellowed. "Am I wrong?" The brute devil of Western Regions replied, "I'm not saying that Long Fei is dead. I believe that a man like him would definitely not die so easily. It's just that how long are we going to wait here? We have to do something, don't we?" The elder swordsman said lightly, "He is right. When a person is alive, he has to do something. Maybe that kid really did enter the North Desert domain from another place." At this moment, Senior Mia's pupils tightened as he said faintly, "It's here." His aura surged. Elder Swordsman shivered. He could tell from the great Senior Mia's expression that he did not come with good intentions. Boom! A powerful aura swept over and descended in midair. Looking at the people below him, he coldly asked, "You are the trash that escaped from Western Regions?" Everyone's eyes darkened, especially Tandapeo, Xiaobai, Binghua, and the other two. He had always been furious, but now that someone had called him a trash, the anger in his heart seemed to add oil to the fire. Elder Swordsman raised his eyes slightly. Seeing the clothes that the man was wearing, he asked indifferently, "God's tribe?" The man said complacently, "You have some foresight, since you know that I'm from the powerhouse of God's tribe." The man's eyes were filled with scorn. "Then why aren't you kneeling down?" Boom! The aura shook. The aura emitted from the man's body was extremely oppressive. It was good that he didn't say anything. What he said, that's not pouring oil on the fire. That's the gas station explosion. Without saying a word, Xiao Bai thrusted a spear down from the sky. The man was stunned. You dare to attack me? I think you're tired of living. Before he could finish his words, an ice flame rushed out and enveloped the man. Tandapeo landed a heavy leap. As his right arm quickly rotated, F*CK, your 8 ancestors' God's tribe. Boom! A heavy artillery shell was fired. Boom! The man fell to the ground, dying. Seeing the people surrounding him, his eyes revealed shock. You dare to attack descendant of God's tribe. You want to rebel? Xiao Bai opened his mouth wide and fiercely bit down Kacha. The man's head was fractured. They were all holding in their anger. If it wasn't for God's tribe activating the reincarnation magic space spell, and if Western Regions was still here, there was no need for them to run. It was even more impossible for Long Fei to disappear. Everything was because of the God's tribe. Adding Long Fei and God's tribe's enmity, they hated the God's tribe even more. Looking at descendant of God's tribe's corpse, the expression in his eyes darkened, and he said, "We can't stay in this place any longer. We have to leave immediately." Xiao Bai immediately asked, "Give him back as God's tribe?" "Come again." Bingwa also said angrily, "That's right." The senior Mie said, "If you come again, you won't be this kind of low-ranked disciple from the Sky sect of Ling clan, but an expert like the 8 great powerhouse S. Even if the 8 great powerhouse S are stomped on, God's tribe can activate the magic space spell again, and you all don't want the North Desert domain to disappear as well. Why would he die without knowing? Could it be that he wants to obliterate the entire North Desert domain?" Xiao Bai's gaze tensed up. They had escaped, and were probably the only group of people that the Western Regions had escaped. If the God's tribe were to activate the reincarnation spatial technique again, without long phase spatial transfer, would they be able to escape? North Desert domain lost another tens of billions of lives. They could not afford the consequences. Immediately, Xiao Bai retracted his aura and no longer spoke. Senior Mie said, "Hurry up and leave. There's already a large group of people rushing here. Their speed is faster than I expected. It seems that North Desert Domain's cultivation is much higher than what I imagined." Elder Swordsman's mind trembled. They should be looking for me. He had cursed Marquess on him. At that time, when he was fighting with Hu Wei, he had no other choice but to release the power of the ancient inheritance. "Let's split up." Elder Swordsman moved slightly and immediately released his ancient sword's spiritual power, exposing himself. He moved his flying sword and looked at them. "Don't worry, we will meet again." Senior Mie said, "Elder Swordsman, at least you have to find a place, right?" Elder Swordsman thought for a moment, then said, "That kid said that he wanted to go to God's Design Attic. Then let's meet at God's Design City." The sword shadow moved and suddenly disappeared. The Elder Swordsman disappeared. The Elder Swordsman disappeared. A few strange energy movements in the distance caused a lot of people to chase after Elder Swordsman. No one came here again. Brute Devil of Western Regions hugged his hands and said, "We will also part ways here." He couldn't stay here because a pair of eyes was staring at him, and the power in his body was being suppressed inexplicably, making him feel very uncomfortable. Tang Long. He had been staring at the Brute Devil of Western Regions and could not control the power of the demonic cultivator. Seeing that the Brute Devil of Western Regions was about to leave, Tang Long immediately made his move. Jian Feng immediately said, "Tang Long, boss said to not touch them. Did you forget?" Tang Long clenched both his fists tightly. With a loud clatter, he said, "Quickly disappear from my sight. If not, none of you will be able to escape." He couldn't control himself. It wasn't that he couldn't control himself, but that he couldn't control the power that was stirring within him. Brute Devil of Western Regions did not want to stay any longer either. This feeling of being suppressed was too uncomfortable. He quickly brought the disciples of Magic Tribe Elder and left. It was only until they were 100 kilometers away that the energy in Tang Long's body started to slowly calm down. The Yimei sisters also said, "We will be leaving as well." Night King said, "He wants us to become the terrifying assassins of the universal realm. Right now, we are not at that level yet. When he appears again, we will definitely do it." The three sisters did not cry. In their hearts, Long Fei was invincible. The people of Night Valley Clan followed him and left. She held Xinyuan Li Air up and said, "The special power in her body should have been given to Long Fei. She should be waiting for Long Fei to return now, since I have more people here, so I'll take care of him. By then, see you at God's Design City." Queen of Blood Moon carried Xinyuan Li Air and left with the 3,000 ghost generals. The Azure Dragon, Sacred Ancestral, said, "I'm leaving as well." He was very confused. In the past, with Long Fei here, he didn't even need to think about anything. Wherever Long Fei went, he would follow him. But now it was different. If possible, he wanted to meet the ancient world. One by one, they left. Tendapeo also left alone. This time, it was a huge blow to him, and he felt that there was nothing he could do. Is the launcher really useless? Even he himself was a little doubtful. The North Desert Domain was much stronger than the Western regions. He had to find his own path. Finally, only Senior Mia, Xiaobai, and Binghua remained. Xiaobai rubbed the bridge of his nose and said, "Let's go find someone." Binghua was surprised. "Who are you looking for?" They weren't familiar with each other in the North Desert Domain, and yet they were looking for someone. "Who was to be earlier?" Xiaobai said, "Boss will definitely return, so when he returns, we must find his former sister-in-law." They also followed him into the universal realm. He looked at the Senior Mia and said, "Do you want to come with me?" The Senior Mia said, "Anyways, I have already come out of seclusion. I do not wish to continue hiding in the extreme regions to cultivate, so I will follow you guys to look around." All right. Finally, the three of them left in a group. F*CK. 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 An old man that was like a madman with red hair, eyebrows like swords, and a beard like steel needles. His physique was robust and sturdy, and his muscles exploded. He continuously said the word F***K. Each time he said it, the meaning was different. Anger. Excited. He was an old demon who was blasted out of Long Fei's body. He thought he would die. The monster inside the coffin was too terrifying. He had no chance to retaliate and was sent flying with a single move. If it was the same as Evil Devil King had said, it would be Eternal Coffin. It would be an extreme honor to die in the hands of the Eternal Coffin. But he didn't die. Not only did he not die, now that he had reconstructed his flesh, the energy that had pushed him out of Long Fei's body had reforged his flesh. With a body at the peak of the deity stage, just a little more, and he would be able to reach the deity's blessing realm. Back then, his physical body was only at the middle stage of the spirit severing stage, but this power caused his physical body to become so strong. Eternal Coffin is truly an eternal coffin, but this old man is still unhappy. You threw Lousy out like this without giving me any face at all. Don't think Lousy can let you off just because you gave Lousy a little bit of sugar. Wait. The old demon was flustered and exasperated. He clenched both his hands. Boom. Demonic chi swirled around, and the strength of the god transforming Peak Realm was like an endless ocean. The old demon became excited. Your master of magic tribe is back. However, at this moment, boom, an iron fork suddenly pressed down on his shoulder. An excited voice rang out. Ha ha ha, I caught one. The old demon was waiting to get angry. His hair seemed like it was about to ignite into a flame. How dare he act so arrogantly on his head? Was he courting death? Moreover, the iron trident pressed down on his neck, pressing him down to the ground. The rage in his heart burned even hotter. When he turned his face to the side, his eyes widened in shock. Holy sh*t, a young man. However, it was tens of thousands of times bigger than him. In front of him, the old devil was like a small ant. Moreover, he was caught in front of the little ant. If it was a giant, then there was nothing to be surprised about. Wasn't a giant a bit bigger? With just a bit of strength, the old demon is in existence at Ancient World's #1 Master of Magic tribe. Would he be afraid of a giant? What shocked him was not the giant, but the pair of giant white wings on the back of the youth. There was a circle of light above his head. "This, the old demon," said in a daze. "What kind of monster is that? I have traversed the ancient world for hundreds of thousands of years, but I have never seen this kind of race before. Where the F***CK is this? Why is there something wrong with my aura? It's not the power of true spirit, and it's not an ancient aura. Where's this place? Am I not in universal realm? Did the eternal coffin chase me out of the universal realm? F***CK your grandmother." This time, the old demon was completely stupefied. He knew that there was a stronger world outside the ancient world, and he also wanted to break through the void and enter a stronger world one day. But now was not the time. He wasn't prepared at all. Moreover, unfortunately, he thought he had become stronger. He didn't expect to be caught like an ant by a child the moment he opened his eyes. How tragic was this? If those people from the ancient world knew about this, would he, as the first master of magic tribe, still be able to survive? Just like the old devil, Black and White had also been kicked out of the ancient world, entering a completely foreign, unknown plane. Ancient Devil Tree. The spring of life was the same. They had also become stronger, but in their plane, they were the weakest of the bunch. None of them could understand the situation. Return to the universal realm? I wonder how long it will be before I can return. And then there was Long Fei. The purple vortex revolved. He fell asleep in a daze. I don't know how long I slept. He did not know what had happened during his sleep. When he woke up, his consciousness was standing in front of a huge heaven gate. The two doors were tightly shut, and a sign was written on top of them. On the horizontal plaque, there were 3 large and vigorous words written in the azure dragon: Immortal School. Immortal School? Long Fei muttered to himself. Looking at the gigantic stone door, his heart tightened as he thought to himself, "Eternal coffin? Rup. Eternal coffin, come out. Where is this place? Take Lousy back. Lousy won't accept your legacy. You don't need to care about how Lousy lives. Lousy will decide for himself." Long Fei said loudly. However, his consciousness was empty, with nothing. No matter how much more he roared, the eternal coffin still did not reply. It was also at this time that Long Fei desperately tried to open his eyes, trying to return to the real world. No matter how hard he struggled, there was no resistance. This is just like a dream. If you can't wake up from it, you can't leave. 1 day, 2 days. After half a month, Long Fei's throat had turned hoarse, and it was the same as before. The eternal coffin had never appeared again. The man wearing the golden mask also did not appear. This was the entrance to the entire void world. Above the entrance were 3 large words. Nothing else. Looking at the huge door, Long Fei felt that. The door was like the lid of the eternal coffin's coffin. The moment it was pushed open, it was as if there was blood all over the sky. This kind of fear was the same as the fear he had towards the eternal coffin. Huff! Long Fei walked to the door once again and said solemnly, "Whether it's a blessing or a curse, I'll break it too. I don't believe it." He pressed both hands on the 2 stone doors and exerted force. The moment Long Fei exerted his strength, streaks of purple-colored spirit energy appeared on Long Fei's arms. As spirit energy lingered around his arms, a curved tattoo appeared on his arms. It was a very special feeling. This power, so strange. What kind of power is this? Long Fei had never experienced this kind of power before. Suddenly, Long Fei's heart tightened, and he abruptly stopped. The moment he stopped, the purple spirit energy and the lines instantly disappeared. My system. The idea moved. Sensing system. Long Fei was startled. No more my mind system. No more. Eternal coffin. F***KU. Return me to the system. Long Fei said heavily. Not only was the system gone, he was also a naked newbie. Not even a piece of cloth. Skills? No. Space ring, no. He didn't even have a ring. And the divine treasures in the ring were even more so devoid of anything. Naked and naked. He felt like a newborn baby. Long Fei fell flat on his butt. Your sister's eternal coffin. All of a sudden, He was back before the liberation. Long Fei stood up again, looked at the immortal execution archipelago above his head, gritted his teeth, and flew into the sky. Using all his strength, he punched out heavily with his fist. Bam! Ka! Asterisk, the large signboard shattered. It was also at this time. A power suddenly sucked Long Fei in. Just like how the eternal coffin had bound him back then, its entire body was bound, and it directly sucked him to the large board. Completely immobilized, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. Come on, kill me. As long as you can't kill me, I will definitely kill you. Boom! Long Fei's body was forcibly sucked into the large signboard. His eyes blinked, and then suddenly opened. Buzz! The light was blinding. Long Fei subconsciously narrowed his eyes. It was also at this time. A young Taoist that was a little over 10 years old walked over and smiled excitedly. Master, senior brother is awake. Senior brother, you're finally awake. Young Taoist looked very cute, just like a doll. Long Fei looked at him and was slightly surprised. So a person can be this beautiful. It was the first time he had seen such a beautiful child. Long Fei looked at young Taoist, then at a distant person who had his hands behind his back, staring at a gigantic stone tablet. The stone had cracked, and the cracks were new, as if it was caused by the heavy blow he had just received. Countless inscriptions were carved onto the monolith. Long Fei casually took a glance, but he could not understand a single one of them. Long Fei looked at the young Taoist again and asked, "Where are we?" The young Taoist giggled and said, "Senior brother, this is the Hall of Eternal Life. You were saved by Master, did you forget? What did you encounter? How did you get so hurt like this?" Young Taoist had a face full of curiosity. Looking at Long Fei, he felt that he was very different from the previous senior brother. Hall of Eternal Life. Long Fei had never heard of this place before, so he muttered to himself, "Could it be that this is the immortal school? You finally remembered?" "Yes, I want to leave." As he spoke, Long Fei was about to get up, but the moment he stood up, he fiercely stomped his body down. He was simply unable to stand at all, and now that he looked at his own body, he saw that it was completely unharmed. But, however, his abdomen seemed to be stirring as if it were a meat grinder and was extremely uncomfortable. Long Fei was drenched in cold sweat. His face was pale. Young Taoist said anxiously, "Senior brother, don't move. Master said that your pubes has shattered and that you no longer have a cultivation base. Rest well now." "The pubes is shattered? You don't have any cultivation left?" "Impossible. Just now Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly. He couldn't release any of his strength, and even clenching his fists was painful. The pubes did not seem to have a source of power. Although he did not know how to cultivate, he knew how important pubes were to a warrior. If there was a system, the pubes would be destroyed. However, he did not have a system right now. If the pubes were to shatter, it meant that he was a piece of trash. Long Fei looked at the young Taoist and said, "Where is this place? That region of the universal realm?" Young Taoist's face was full of confusion and said, "Senior brother, where is universal realm? How come I've never heard of it? Is it a new place for you? Tell me what's new." Curiosity was written all over his face. Long Fei's heart sank. It's over. Long Fei's body went limp, and he leaned against the wall. His eyes became lifeless, and he cursed the 18 generations of Eternal Coffin's ancestors in his heart. When young Taoist saw that Long Fei's face was deathly pale, he immediately said to the man not far away, Master, the condition of the senior brother seems to have worsened." The man didn't turn around. He still looked at the stone tablet with the crack. After a long time, his eyes became cold, and he muttered to himself, "Is this the new master? Is it heaven's will? Or," clenching his fists tightly, the middle-aged man slowly turned around and stared at Long Fei with a complex look. At this moment, his eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. Was not unfamiliar with killing intent. Even to the extent that he'd felt killing intent the instant the man turned around. Long Fei did not mind. His two eyes looked at the middle-aged man absent-mindedly and said, "You want to kill me?" The middle-aged man's eyes flashed. Young Taoist said naively, "Master would not have hurt you. If it wasn't for Master, you would have already died outside." Long Fei didn't mind. He knew that the eternal coffin was not a middle-aged man, nor was the person who brought him here. This was the Hall of Eternal Life, so this man should be the sect leader of the Immortal God School, or a certain senior elder. His appearance would definitely pose a threat to him. This threat was related to the cracks that the black stone produced. It could also be related to his intrusion. He didn't enter through the gate of the Immortal Gate. Instead, he was sucked into the Immortal Gate's large board. The situation was completely different. This was the conclusion. The middle-aged man should also know that the person inside this body was not the original person, but a completely new person. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "If this place wasn't universal realm and wasn't able to cultivate, then it wouldn't be any different from death." The system disappeared. The pubes shattered. If it was Long Fei who had just teleported to another world, he might have been able to survive with his body heavily injured. But right now, Long Fei couldn't do it. Rather than that, he might as well die early and be reborn earlier. Young Taoist's tears dripped down his face. "Senior brother, don't say that. You can't cultivate." "I can." Young Taoist was very serious. Her two big eyes held tears as she looked at Long Fei without moving. That expression, it could break a person's heart. Long Fei really wanted to caress his head, but he didn't even have the strength to raise his arm. From the heavenly Saint Peak realm, he had all kinds of ancient power, as well as all kinds of special powers of the system. Although the power of the divine treasure was not the strongest, ordinary powerhouse would only die in front of him. But now, heaven has fallen into hell. He continued to sink deeper and deeper into the infernal realm. Alive? There wasn't much more to it. He was powerless to resist it now. They could only wait for death. The middle-aged man walked to Long Fei's side, his killing intent still lingering. Long Fei laughed and said, "Bring it on." Very calm. He was not afraid of death. At one time, he had died many times. Young Taoist looked up at the middle-aged man and asked, "Master, what's wrong with senior brother?" The middle-aged man did not make a sound. Looking at the Long Fei, who was looking forward to death, under his sleeves, his strength was thick. There was a trace of hesitation in his eyes. However, in that instant, he raised his palm, and the hesitation in his eyes became very resolute as he smashed his palm heavily towards Long Fei's head. With his palm, Long Fei was dead for sure. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled into a smile as he cursed in his heart. "Eternal coffin, if you have a next life, this old man will definitely overturn your entire clan." He closed his eyes. Boom! A palm slammed down. Rumble! A loud sound echoed out. Bam! Suddenly, there was a crashing sound. However, Long Fei did not feel any pain. The young Taoist at the side opened his mouth wide, looked at the purple symbols on Long Fei's body, and was incomparably shocked. He was shocked speechless. Not far away, the middle-aged man was knocked against the wall, his blood tumbling beneath his chest as a mouthful of blood gushed out. He was also stunned by the purple name on Long Fei's body. Young Taoist said, "Master, what this senior brother has on him is..." He couldn't say it out loud, because at that moment, the middle-aged man formed a seal with his hands, releasing a large amount of power from his body. Suddenly, the power of the entire Hall of Eternal Life appeared to be in disorder. And then, space-time reversed, time reversed. Everything was retreating. Long Fei couldn't feel it at all. He could only feel that his mind was muddled, and that he was about to vomit. Half a minute later, Long Fei tried his best to open his eyes, and his entire body was in extreme pain. At this time, a young Taoist ran up and said excitedly, "Master, Master, senior brother is awake. Senior brother, you're finally awake." On the other side, a middle-aged man immediately looked at Long Fei. "Huh?" Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He felt that something was amiss. He felt that everything around him was familiar, especially the shattered stone tablet. "Why does it feel like I've been here before?" Long Fei looked at young Taoist and was secretly shocked in his heart. What a beautiful young Taoist. Where is this place? Young Taoist giggled and said, Ah, Hall of Eternal Life. Senior brother, you're finally awake. Hall of Eternal Life? Long Fei felt that it was very familiar, but he just could not think of where he had seen it before. The middle-aged man walked over. This time, there was no killing intent on his body. He walked in front of Long Fei, flipped his right hand, and took out a medicinal pellet from within his palm and said, Your body is severely injured. Stabilize this pellet first. I will think of a way to deal with the matter of your pubes being broken. The pellet floated from his palm and flew in front of Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the normal, sugar-like pill. It was extremely inconspicuous, and its grade would not be any better at a glance. This Hall of Eternal Life's alchemy technique is probably very low-leveled. Long Fei thought in his heart. Taking the pellet, he asked a little absent-mindedly, My pubes is broken into pieces again? Again. Long Fei was startled. Why did I use the word again? Why are there so many problems with my brain? The middle-aged man said, Take the pill first and stabilize your injuries. We'll talk about it after your body recovers. Young Taoist grinned and said, Senior brother, quickly take this pellet. The pellet Master refined has an incomparably miraculous effect. Long Fei did not think much of it. Just this normal pill, what miracle can it possibly do? The pills I refine are thousands of times better than this. Not contempt. It was Long Fei's arrogant nature. He placed the pill into his mouth. As the pill melted, the spirit liquid slowly entered his body and flowed into his limbs. At this moment, Long Fei's pupils violently shook. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder rumbled in his body as if he was beating a drum. He did not feel any pain at all. Furthermore, he felt extremely comfortable as the pain in his body practically healed in an instant. In an instant, Long Fei felt that he was better. Damn, I've seen so many powerful medicinal pills, but none of them have achieved such a miraculous effect. Long Fei was secretly excited. This is too strong. If this kind of pellet or alchemy technique can be brought back to the universal realm, one pellet can heal the pain on the whole body. Wouldn't that be invincible? All of a sudden, Long Fei became excited and said, Uncle, did you refine this pill yourself? Can you teach me the art of alchemy? He felt that his previous alchemy technique, even if it was the ancient alchemy technique, was unable to compare to the person who refined this pellet. If he could learn, that's amazing. A pill gave Long Fei unlimited hope. A pill gave Long Fei unlimited hope. The pill was too magical. After entering the body, it was as if tens of thousands of small doctors had appeared inside the body. He had never experienced such an experience before. This pill can at least add up to 10 million HP, right? Long Fei secretly sighed, then thought about the system, and sighed in his heart. If only the system was here, I could at least see the properties of this pill. Maybe we can study replication for a while. Now, as I looked down, the middle-aged man said, Take a good rest first. I'll think of a way to deal with the pubes. He thought Long Fei was sighing because he thought that the pubes could not be cultivated. Long Fei laughed bitterly and said, Thank you. That alchemy technique, the middle-aged man said, I will teach you in the future. Long Fei's eyes lit up. Thank you. The man didn't have any expression on his face. With his hands clasped behind his back, he turned around and left. He walked up to the broken stone tablet and paused for a moment. He carefully examined it for a second. He seemed to be sighing as well. Slowly walking into the darkness, his figure disappeared. Young Taoist was in a state of shock until the middle-aged man left. Only then did he say, Senior brother, I have never seen Master be this gentle. Long Fei was startled. Gentle? I don't feel it. Young Taoist said, Aren't you being gentle yet? In the past, Master would never speak in such a manner. His every word was ice-cold, but just now, he was actually very amiable. And Long Fei looked at young Taoist's little head and laughed. And what? Young Taoist approached Long Fei lowered his voice, and said, "Furthermore, Master agreed to teach you alchemy technique." Long Fei didn't feel anything special, but to the young Taoist, this was even harder than splitting the sky apart or opening equinox flowers. "It's very strange." How strange? Young Taoist sat on the ground with one hand on his chin, thinking about this question. It looked exceptionally cute. If it wasn't for the fact that he was a boy, Long Fei really wanted to train him. In the end, the young Taoist was unable to understand either. Long Fei asked, "What plane is this hall of eternal life on?" Young Taoist asked, "Senior brother, have you really forgotten about everything?" Long Fei nodded. This body did not have any memories left. All of them were Long Fei's own memories. Young Taoist said, "Seems like the enemies you have met this time were really powerful to actually be able to injure you to this extent. Our Hall of Eternal Life is just one plane. Rather than calling it a plane, he's more like a dimension door. It connects every divine realm, star field, sky field, and region in the universe, as well as any of these great worlds." Hearing what the young Taoist said, Long Fei was shocked. "Damn, dimension door? A robotic cat?" Young Taoist did not understand, and said, "Senior brother, what is a robot cat? Is it something new again?" Long Fei shook his head. He was shocked to the point that he was somewhat unable to speak, and thought to himself, if it leads to any realm, does it also lead to the universal realm? I can go back. Didn't evil Devil King say that the coffin was an eternal coffin? Not the only existence in all the realms of the universe, the existence that will live forever. If this hall of eternal life is a dimension door, then he is indeed the only existence. But this eternal life? Long Fei looked at the cracked stone tablet not too far away. He could not understand the inscription symbol on it, but he thought to himself, regardless of that, I have to think of a way to return to the universal realm. I wonder how they are doing right now. Whether it was the God realm or the star region, none of these places belonged to Long Fei. At the very least, none of them belonged to him for the time being. He belonged to the universal realm. If the God's tribe did not perish and his father did not save, then there was no meaning even if he dominated the other realms. Moreover, right now his pubes had shattered, the system had disappeared. How was he supposed to be the overlord? The tattoo on his arms and his consciousness, that kind of purple power? Long Fei looked at his hands, unable to feel any kind of strength. Long Fei laughed bitterly. "I've really become a piece of trash," young Taoist said. "Senior brother is not trash. Senior brother is the most powerful warrior in the world." Long Fei asked, "The most powerful?" Even pubes S are gone, and your cultivation is gone, so you will be a trash in the future, let alone these things." "What's your name?" Young Taoist's eyes were startled. He laughed and did not say his name, and changed the topic. "Senior brother, are you hungry? I'll make you something to eat." "Yes, you must be hungry. I'll make you something to eat right now." With that, the young Taoist ran off into the distance and disappeared into the darkness. Long Fei was the only one left in the entire Hall of Eternal Life, without any signs of life. The quiet Long Fei could almost hear her own heartbeat. The main hall was very spacious. Only in the center was there the cracked stone tablet. Long Fei leisurely walked to the front of the stone tablet. Looking at the new crack, Long Fei wanted to use his hand to feel it, but the moment he touched it, buzz! A powerful force directly held his arm, preventing him from moving. He could only pull it back. Huff! So powerful, so special, this power. Long Fei thought about how the eternal coffin had restricted his power, and the power on the stone tablet became even stronger. He looked at the inscription. They were all ancient hieroglyphs, older than any oracle bone rune on Earth, but he had never seen any of them before. However, at the very bottom of the stone tablet, there was a design that looked like it was signed, a pattern similar to the sun. This pattern, Long Fei's mind paused for a bit and said, "So familiar, I think I've seen it before." The star maps of the seal. The final goal seems to be this pattern. What kind of place is that? The immortal world? Long Fei couldn't understand, and was too lazy to think about things he couldn't understand. Why waste that brain cell? He walked around the stone monument. Young Taoist had not returned. Long Fei looked around at the darkness of the hall and muttered. Just now, they had left, and there was no sign of life. How big was this hall of eternal life? Long Fei also walked into the darkness. When his body completely disappeared into the darkness, a door appeared in front of him. This door is special, very advanced. It was inlaid with diamonds that constantly flashed. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Damn, even the door is embedded with diamonds? So fierce?" Without thinking much, Long Fei stepped inside. To him, this door was the other room that led to the Hall of Eternal Life. But when he took a step inside, he realized, not really. His eyes were blank as he entered a completely different world. A kick in the air. A kick in the air. Long Fei simply could not control his body and stepped on it. Boom! His entire body also fell down to the ground. Walala! Ah! Long Fei wanted to control his own chi to fly up, but when he tried to exert a bit of strength, the pubes felt a sharp pain in his abdomen and was unable to release even the slightest bit of power of true spirit, so he could only allow himself to fall. About 10 seconds later, walala! He fell into a lake and Long Fei broke out in a cold sweat. Luckily, I fell into the water. If it wasn't for the water, I would have died from my fall. Long Fei quickly swam to the shore. He had never seen anything like this before. Even the trees were different. The sky was different too. 1 sun and 3 moons. It was completely different from the plains Long Fei had seen before. Whew! Long Fei took a deep breath, so fresh he couldn't feel any spiritual energy at all. Long Fei lied on the grass and basked in the sun, his entire body warm and comfortable, as if he was lying on a soft blanket. If it's from another plane, then young Taoist is really talking about Dimension Door. Long Fei looked at the sky, at the place where he had fallen. I can't even go back now. Suddenly, roar! A roar came from the valley in the distance. Long Fei instantly shot out, "Demon Beast." Hearing the Demon Beast's voice made him throb a little. Killing the Demon Beast might be able to activate the system. Back then, wasn't this how he was activated? And it could even give out a divine-level cultivation technique. Immediately, Long Fei's eyes flashed and said, if the system in my soul was really implanted inside, then it would still be there and would only be damaged by the eternal coffin's immense power. It might have just closed and will wait for my second activation. That must be it. Long Fei analyzed excitedly. As long as he could activate the game system, he would be able to survive in any plane. And then, Long Fei immediately wanted to run towards the valley where the demon beast had roared. However, following the demon beast's roar, the entire world started to tremble. The 3 moons in the sky all disappeared and hid. Suddenly, the water on the surface of the lake suddenly retracted and turned into a gigantic water monster. It rushed out of the deep pit as well. Such a huge lake was actually a monster. The strange trees in the surroundings also started to move crazily, as if they had suddenly come to life. Even the grass where Long Fei was lying on was moving, as though a wild beast was going berserk and was frantically escaping. The whole world is moving. Long Fei was completely dumbfounded. What the F***? What kind of plane is this? Roar. Another roar. The surrounding movement speed became even faster. It was as if he had seen a ghost. The grass that Long Fei was lying on carried him along with it as it moved. Long Fei looked into the distance and muttered, I'm so afraid. What level is that demon beast at? Roar. The roar was getting closer. Bam! The valley moved, and a 2-meter-tall demon beast moved. It looked a bit strange, like a cheetah, but speed was 10,000 times faster than a cheetah. The explosive force was quite terrifying. It took almost only a few seconds to catch up with the world. Long Fei said, You're scaring such a big cat to this extent? To Long Fei, this demon beast was not even a tenth of the weird things around him. Long Fei raised his sleeves, looked at the cat that was getting closer and closer, and heavily said, "If I kill you, I can activate the system. Come." Long Fei jumped up and ran towards the direction of the big cat. Roar! Another roar. The big cat suddenly jumped up and stretched out its sharp claws. They were like swords and sabers as they flashed with a cold light. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Although he did not have cultivation, nor power of true spirit S from the pubes, but he had rich combat experience. In that instant, Long Fei did not forcefully go up, but his body suddenly sank down and stuck close to the ground. However, he was underestimating the world. The moment the big cat pounced, voila! Phantom images were like lines, one after another, head. In almost an instant, half of the sky had turned black from the previous demon beast to the current tens of thousands of demon beasts, shrouding the sky and blotting out the sun. This scene, Long Fei was confused. F***CK. What kind of world is this? He had only seen one, but in that instant, so many clones had appeared. The key point was that these clones were not clones, but real bodies. Seeing the black mass of people pouncing towards him, Long Fei's actions just now were like that of clown. It was completely useless. The falcon that was hunted for a lifetime was eaten by the falcon in the end. How laughable. Long Fei lied on the ground and laughed bitterly, watching the black mass of cats pouncing towards him. He couldn't stop even one move. He knew he was going to die. To be able to die in front of such a powerful body transformation technique, he had to admit that. Roar! Roar! The 10,000 beasts roared. Long Fei's life was on the line. But right at this moment, buzz! Suddenly, a door opened and a figure stepped out. Her figure suddenly appeared beside Long Fei, and she lifted Long Fei, causing her body to suddenly disappear, and in less than a second, Long Fei appeared in front of the door. He lowered his head and looked. The ground was a mess. Blood flowed wildly. Long Fei was carried through the door like a little chick. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with rage as he growled, "Who let you run around randomly?" Seeing Long Fei flying out of the dimension door, he trembled a little and immediately ran forward and said, "Master, stop hitting senior brother. It's my fault." I didn't explain it clearly to him. Senior brother lost his memories. He doesn't remember what's behind the door at all. "Master, if you want to punish me, then punish me." Young Taoist's eyes filled with tears. Long Fei said, "It's my fault. If there's any punishment, I'll go on." It wasn't his nature to do things alone and let the young Taoist take over. Moreover, he did not feel that he had done anything wrong. The middle-aged man looked at Long Fei and said, "Since you say it like that, then fine. Since your pubes is useless now, the martial arts training is no longer possible. Since you're interested in alchemy, then let's begin by knowing the spirit grass. Your first mission is to look for the 7-flame flower. If you can't find it, don't come back." Young Taoist was startled and said, "Master, the plane of the 7-flame flower is too dangerous. That place is—" Without waiting for young Taoist to finish speaking, the middle-aged man walked to the front of the dimension door, who moved and the diamond on the door shone with light. Following that, the dimension door opened. The middle-aged man said, "Go find him." Long Fei did not stop. He did not want to stay in Hall of Eternal Life. He wanted to activate the system, and if he wanted to open it, he had to kill monsters. Thus, Long Fei didn't hesitate at all. One step into the door. He was just one step away from God. He was just one step away from God. This step was called becoming a deity. Long Fei was one step away from becoming a god. This step wasn't becoming a god, but a monster. He needed a monster to activate the system. It was just like when he activated the system. Killing a toad, unleashing a godly skill, activating the system. This was the beginning of his valiant life. Thus, facing the dimension door, Long Fei did not have the slightest trace of fear, but instead was excited in his heart. Other than young Taoist, the middle-aged man didn't even have a soul. It was impossible. Long Fei was excited. "My system, I'm coming." A white light flashed. Long Fei stepped into a brand new world. One step in the air. Long Fei plummeted from the sky. Ah, he subconsciously let out a shout and cursed in his heart. Fuck, can't you lower the door a little? Don't you want me to fall to my death? Ah, free fall. Long Fei was simply unable to control his speed and could only slightly control his body as he rapidly dropped from the sky. In his previous life, he had seen some extreme sports where he tried his best to expand his body. With the help of the wind, he slowly gained control of his flying speed. Even so, he didn't have Bird Person's exclusive sports clothes, so he could only barely control the direction. The lake. The lake. Without a lake, rivers are fine too. Water. Long Fei searched high up in the sky with all his might. As long as he fell into the water, he should be able to keep his little life. However, after searching for a long time, he still couldn't see the lake or the river, even though he was getting closer to the ground. He was secretly nervous. This is it. I'm really going to fall to my death this time. Damn you. Long Fei could no longer control himself as the speed at which he was falling increased. Don't die a horrible death. He folded his arms and thought about the scenes from the movies of Star-Lord's martial arts in his previous life. If he really wants to fall to his death, then he should at least do something cool. His palms slammed down. Yi Zichen slapped down on a dense jungle. Princess, you won't be able to escape today. I don't like to do things to women. It's best if you choose to do it voluntarily and don't suffer too much. I will give you endless happiness. Only I can give you this kind of happiness. In the forest, a woman was forced to the corner. One of the men had a lewd smile at the corner of his mouth, and his expression was exceptionally proud. The woman said, Chen Huai, aren't you afraid that my royal father will know what you just said? Your royal father? Ha ha! The man suddenly laughed. Princess, I'm afraid you don't know. When we left the capital, your royal father wasn't the emperor of this country. The reason why you're still alive and still able to stand here is all because of me. If it wasn't for me, you would have already died in the rebellion. In the end, you should have thanked me. Chen Huai laughed. Looking at the girl's beautiful appearance, his Adam's apple couldn't help but roll up and down. The lady's eyes narrowed. Your Chun clan wants to rebel? Rebel. Chen Huai sneered and said, Don't make it sound so bad. Your Xian's mountains and rivers were originally fought over by my Qin family. As he spoke, he stepped forward. The woman said, Along the way, were those people who mysteriously disappeared? Did you do it? Chen Huai said, Of course, if they don't die. How can I give them a chance to be alone in the wilderness? How can I give them a chance to enjoy life in a place that no one will ever be able to hear? Ha ha! For this moment, I've been waiting so long for it. Finally, it's here. Rest assured, the moment I enter your body, I will feel a little lighter. Chen Huai laughed obscenely. He was already unable to endure the hunger and thirst in the slightest. The woman stuck her back to the corner as she looked at Chen Huai. Her heart was filled with anxiety. Chen Huai, don't come over, don't come over. There are countless powerhouse-s in our Xians. Chen Huai did not stop and said, You mean the experts of the divine sect Xian's? I forgot to tell you, just with the strength of my Chun family, I am unable to deal with your Xians, but if a powerhouse of the divine sect were to make a move against the Xians, then it would be a different story. I'm afraid all of the experts in the divine sect have died. Ha ha. The woman was even more shocked. Impossible. The reason why the Xians was able to establish a dynasty was because the Xians had a position in the divine sect. The divine sect's medicinal pills and secret techniques were constantly being transferred to the Xians to be cultivated by the Xians' disciples. There were hundreds of Xians in the divine sect, thus they could not be cleared out. Chen Huai laughed. Aren't you surprised? Yes, I was surprised when I heard the news, and I thought it was impossible, but do you think that the scum of your Xians can withstand the personal attacks of a vice sect master of the divine sect? These are secrets. The Chen family's top secret. Chen Huai knew this because he was Chun Haohai's only son. The reason why he said it out loud was because Xian Yu would die after being toyed with by him. Ha ha ha. Xian Yu come. Chen Huai laughed loudly. Don't waste my time anymore. Xian Yu's expression changed as she executed a martial art move. She said, Don't come near me. You also know that there are countless martial arts techniques in the Xians. If you dare to come again, I'll make my move. Pucci, Shenhuai laughed and said, You? You want to attack me? Come, come, come. Hurry up and make your move. Don't you know that our Xians possesses a supreme palm technique? This kind of palm technique falls from the sky. With a single palm strike, it could kill all ethereal opening powerhouse. Come on, let me experience this palm technique. Come on, come on. Chun Huai continuously laughed. The Xians did indeed have a supreme palm technique. It was just as Xianyu had said. But not a single person in Xians had successfully cultivated this technique. No matter how talented he was, it was useless. Just based on this mysterious jade that didn't know what kind of cultivation he was talking about, it was impossible. Bring it on. Chun Huai couldn't wait any longer. Little darling, come. I think it's been 5 years since I last thought about it. Profound Jade's tears were about to flow out, thinking of that supreme palm technique, and randomly slashed at Chun Huai. Chun Huai feigned a pained look and said, it hurts. It's so powerful. His entire body pounced on her. Bring it on. Xianyu hugged herself tightly and curled up her body. At this moment, an explosion sounded in the sky. Chun Huai tilted his face slightly, looked at the sky, and his pupils suddenly shrank as he muttered to himself, Could it be that this kind of palm technique really exists in this world? Rumble. Later, and more. Ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, currently at the first level of Ethereal Opening. The attributes immediately changed greatly. Strength increased. Long Fei's body also became lighter. With all the power of the Nether Passage realm in his hands, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. One word, it feels too good. Killing a person to raise his level was very common. Killing a boss that had leveled up to LV10 was extremely shocking. But killing a person and leveling up to level 40? How explosive was that? Long Fei almost laughed out loud. This system is too awesome. Before, this daddy only got more experience by killing people above my level, and now I can gain the full strength of the opponent. I really want to return to the universal realm now. Long Fei was looking forward to it. In another plane, in an unknown star field. This system, it has just been designed and tested, and it has not been tested yet. The attributes of this system are a little too heaven-defying. Is it really okay for us to do this? What if? The operator looked worriedly at the huge computer screen. Behind him stood a middle-aged man. The man said indifferently, This is the meaning of the written order. The operator said, But in case something goes wrong. The middle-aged man said, That's not our responsibility. We just need to control the system and shut down any bugs that we encounter. The operator let out a long breath and said, Sigh. I'm afraid that the system will be out of our control, and we won't be able to shut it down even if we want to. At that time, he's an operator. His duty was to monitor and control every system owner. This version of killing system had just been developed and had not undergone any tests, so it was easy for it to cause problems when used on the host. Once the system crashes, the host will die. Moreover, there are also other possibilities. The system would break down and the bug would appear, and then the host would become an uncontrollable object. At that time, as an operator, there was nothing he could do. The most important one, the plane they were in, was the highest level. All the products of this plane possessed supreme power, and the systems developed were no exception. This system is an intelligent system. Once it gained its own spiritual consciousness and lost control, then the result would be. What would it be like? This possibility was even more terrifying. The operator didn't dare think about it. He was the operator of the system in Long Fei's mind, and he was extremely familiar with everything about Long Fei. From birth to transmigration, to continuous hard work in cultivation and a breakthrough, every single step Long Fei took was extremely difficult. Long Fei's brothers in love, both were hard to come by. The key thing was Long Fei's character. The operator admired Long Fei. To others, Long Fei was just a test subject in his hands, while Xiaobai was just a mouse. He was only here to monitor Long Fei. However, he didn't think so himself. He believed himself to be Long Fei's guardian. He did not want to see anything bad happen to Long Fei. The operator looked at Long Fei, who was in front of the computer, and muttered in his heart, "Everything depends on your life." He pressed a button lightly. All of the killing system's attributes were injected into it. Long Fei did not feel anything unusual. "Are you a master of my xians?" Profound Jade looked at Long Fei. The reason Long Fei had appeared was because of the few palm strikes she had casually made. Long Fei descended from the sky. Everything was exactly the same as described in the palm technique. Descending from the sky, with a single palm strike, he shattered the earth and became extremely fierce and valiant. "Master," Long Fei looked at the profound Jade that was watery and smiled evilly. "That's right. I am your master." Xianyu became even more excited and said, "I knew it. I knew it. So this is the set of palm techniques." "Master, let's hurry up and return to the capital." "Return to the capital?" Long Fei asked. "What are you doing?" Xianyu said. Chun Wang rebelled. "I need to hurry back to save father." Long Fei glanced at the profound Jade and asked, "What realm are you in?" The black Jade was exceptionally proud as it said, "I am a 6th grade invigorated meridian." Long Fei said, "Very strong." Xianyu said, "Of course, ordinary people are simply no match for me." "Oh." The aura on Long Fei's body flared. Boom. Xianyu's face immediately paled. Long Fei said, "You can't even withstand the pressure of the Nether Passage realm. If you are strong, what can you do when you return to the Emperor like this? Go die?" Xianyu said, "Aren't you here?" As long as you release that palm technique, Chun Wang would definitely pee his pants out of fear. Xianyu looked at Long Fei with excitement in her eyes. She couldn't wait to bring Long Fei to the Imperial Palace. Long Fei was a lifesaver in her heart. Long Fei said, "Tell me about the situation in the capital first." Xianyu briefly described what Chen Huai said just now, waiting for him to finish. Long Fei immediately said, "There's no saving him." Xianyu said, "What is it?" Long Fei said, "The Xians is hopeless. This is a destructive massacre. It will not give you any path of retreat. The celestial sect's actions are the proof. Even a fool would understand this." However, there was one thing Long Fei couldn't understand. Why would a dignified vice sect master of the divine sect be interested in a single dynasty? Power struggle? The vice sect leader was far above. No one in Xian's could compare to him. Benefits? That's not it either. The Xian's empire is only serving the divine sect. It can't possibly be benefits at all. Long Fei couldn't wrap his head around it, and asked while looking at the profound Jade, "How did you leave the capital?" "My royal father told me to come out and play. If not for my royal father, I wouldn't have followed a villain like Chen Huai out." "Oh, seems like your royal father should have realized this long ago." Long Fei secretly asked, "When you left, what did your royal father say?" Xianyu thought for a moment, then said, "That is, you want me to go out and relax. You want me to stay at Aunt's place for a while." Long Fei looked at the profound Jade, sized it up, and asked, "Where is your aunt?" Xianyu replied, "In Xian Pavilion." "Oh." Long Fei's heart once again confirmed that Xianyu's father had long ago sensed that she was in danger. Otherwise, he would not have allowed her to come out. What was the source of this danger? Long Fei looked at the profound Jade again. "Before we left, did your father not give you anything?" Xianyu woodenly shook her head and said, "No, I do." Long Fei asked, "Is it true, or is it not?" Profound Jade looked at Long Fei with some hesitation. Long Fei said, "I am your master. If you don't tell me, how am I supposed to help you?" "Daddy won't let me tell others," she said. Long Fei said, "Am I someone else? I am your master. I can't even say it?" "How preposterous." Long Fei revealed an angry look. She completely believed that Long Fei was Xian's of the Xians. Taking down a pendant from her neck, she said, "I did give this one to me." Long Fei took the pendant. A piece of green jade, shaped like a lotus, fell onto his palm. It was very cool, but it looked like an ordinary jade pendant. However, this was just the surface. Long Fei opened the system. Wow! Zhang Xian's eyes narrowed abruptly. He instantly became excited and swallowed a huge mouthful of saliva. Then, he kept the pendant and said, I'm a master of your sect. I will keep this pendant for now. Xianyu looked at Long Fei in a daze, unable to say a single word. The item was a good item, the existence of super artifact S. The item was a good item, the existence of super artifact S. Not only that, this piece of jade was very special. The attributes displayed by the system were only one of them, devour. Anything can be devoured. This kind of devouring was not an attack, nor was it purely based on strength. After devouring, it could create new things, and that was its strength. Long Fei now understood why the Xians was exterminated. It was most likely because of this jade pendant. Master, I can keep the jade pendant for you, but you have to return to the imperial capital with me. When the profound jade saw that Long Fei had put away the jade pendant, she could only give up. If not for Long Fei, she would have already been humiliated by him. No matter if Long Fei was a Xians or not, profound jade thanked Long Fei in her heart. What was the use of this jade pendant? She didn't know. Long Fei waved his hand and said, There's no need to go to the imperial capital. There's no use in going. To the capital again? It was more or less the same. Long Fei liked dangerous places, but that did not mean he liked suicide. Now that he had such a powerful killing system, then wouldn't he have to look for a place to cultivate in a wretched manner? Xianyu stood in place without moving an inch. Looking at the direction of the imperial city, she was a little reluctant as she said in a low voice, Master, you, how can you be like this? Long Fei said, I'm a master. I can do whatever I want. Xianyu pouted and was at a loss for words. Long Fei looked at her pitiful expression and could not bear it anymore. How about this? We'll go to the Xian Pavilion first, and if your aunt lets you go to the capital, I'll bring you back to the capital later. What do you think? Xianyu immediately revealed a smile and asked, Really? Long Fei nodded. Amen, pull the hook. The profound jade stretched out her jade-like pinky and looked at Long Fei with a serious expression. Without waiting for Long Fei to extend his hand, she directly grabbed onto Long Fei's hand and hooked it with her little finger, then said seriously, Pull the hook, hang it, don't change it for 100 years. The one who changes is the puppy. Finished. Xianyu giggled and said, Aunt dotes on me the most. She will agree to anything I want. At that time, you will definitely bring me back to the capital. Haha. Xianyu skipped away. Long Fei shook his head and laughed bitterly. You don't even know what is happening in the imperial city right now. Sigh. It's good to be naive. Long Fei also quickly followed. Divine sect. Can't find it? A 40-something-year-old man frowned and spoke with a hint of anger in his voice. Chun Haohai immediately knelt on the ground and said, Calm down, elder. I will definitely send more people over. Even if I have to dig Xian's 3 feet, I will still need to find what you're looking for. The elder's eyes were cold as he said in a deep voice, I told you, this is not what I want, but what the vice sect master needs. The 2 words, vice sect master, were particularly harsh. When Chun Haohai heard the 3 words, vice sect master, his heart trembled faintly. His body trembled as he said, I will definitely do my best to find one for the vice sect master. The man said coldly, Chun Haohai, the Xians is very powerful in your eyes, right? But in the vice sect master's eyes, it's as easy as stepping on an ant to death. If you don't do well, let the Liu family, the Ma family, or even some random cat or dog replace your current position. Do you understand? Chun Haohai's body trembled uncontrollably. If he had not tried his best to control himself, he would have already pissed himself. He kowtowed heavily on the ground and said, I understand. I will do my best in a while. The man said flatly, Not with all my strength, but I have to find it. Otherwise, Chun Haohai gulped down his throat. His spine was already cold. He felt extremely uncomfortable and kowtowed on the ground, not daring to get up. About half an hour later, an elder of the Chun clan walked in and said, "Patriarch, the elder has already left." Chun Haohai felt like he was pardoned. He stood up slowly. His knees were numb, and he couldn't stand steadily. His eyes darkened as he said, "No one is going to confess?" The old man shook his head and said, "All the punishments have been used. No one knows." "Are all 361 Xianzes here?" Chen Haohai asked. The old man continued, "Other than the 101 who died in battle, the other 200 people are all here. There's still one more person who isn't here." Chen Haohai turned sinister and asked, "Who?" The old man said, "Xian Yu, who went out of the city with Chun Huai, the youngest daughter of Xian Ting." Chun Haohai immediately said, "Chase after him immediately." The elders said, "They've already been sent out." Chun Haohai exhaled and said, "We can't let anyone in the Xians go, and we must also dissect the corpses of those Xians' disciples for me. Don't let any part of them go. Those who are still alive, hit them without saying a word. Disintegrate the corpses of the Xian's disciples in front of them. Extremely evil. Never let the body go." Chun Haohai was very clear in his heart that if they did not find the thing that belonged to the vice sect master, their fate might be even worse than Xian's. The powerhouse was the king and the weak was the ant. The elder bowed and said, "I will do it immediately." Chun Haohai said, "Send more people to chase after the profound jade. Don't let her return to the Xian pavilion." Xian Ting, this sly old fox, probably knew that the divine sect was going to take action against the Xians long ago. He had already arranged for the goods to be in Xian Yu's hands. "If I return to the Xian pavilion, that would be troublesome." Chen Haohai frowned. The southern divine sect had Xian Pavilion in the north, the two most powerful forces within this plane. The ancestor of the Xians had foresight. He not only allowed the disciple to cultivate in the divine sect, he also allowed the later generations to maintain their relationship with the Xian Pavilion. Once danger arose, both sides could retreat. At least it would be able to protect the Xian's fire seed. However, the imperial city was millions of kilometers away from the Xian Pavilion. Without the help of any beast mounts, it would take him a very long time to reach the Xian Pavilion. Long Fei was not in a hurry. He was in no hurry. Whether it was the Xian's extermination or his need for rescue, what did these have to do with him? His goal was to improve himself. Then there was the search for the 7-flame flower. Only by finding the 7-flame flower would the dimension door open its doors, allowing him to return to the Hall of Eternal Life. That man's alchemy technique is much stronger than the ancient alchemy technique. You must definitely learn this. Master, time to eat. The black jade was holding onto a pot of pitch-black stuff. It was unknown whether it was coal or coal, but she carried it in front of Long Fei, causing her to turn into a small cat, staring at Long Fei, hoping to receive his praise. Long Fei looked at the pot of pitch-black food and said, "Eat one for yourself first." Xian Yu picked up a piece of charcoal and took a bite before spitting it out immediately. She looked at Long Fei with a bitter face as she said, "Master, something that even you can't eat yourself. How am I supposed to eat it?" Right at this moment, Long Fei's eyes moved. He covered the profound jade that had been about to speak and said softly, "Don't talk. There's a demon beast approaching." Bewildering. Hiss, hiss. Bewildering. Hiss, hiss. A series of ear-piercing footsteps approached. When Long Fei thought about how the little wild panther had suddenly split into over 10,000 clones, his heart tightened, and he became extremely cautious. What was the level of this plane? What was the level of demon beast? Long Fei didn't know anything. Hiss, hiss. The bush slightly moved, and a small white animal carefully crawled out. Its target was the rice cooked by Xian Yu. The little thing didn't seem to see Long Fei's existence. Long Fei looked at it. Xian Yu was also looking at her. She directly struggled out of Long Fei's arms and said, "What a cute little kitten, ah! White and soft." It was incredibly adorable. Long Fei liked it even when he saw it. However, right at the moment, the profound jade spoke and took a step forward. Roar! The cute kitten looked like it was trying to transform. In a second, it turned into a ferocious beast and swiped down at Xianyu. The sharp claws were over 10 centimeters long and were like daggers. If this were to happen to him, he would definitely have to cut open his intestines and tear his stomach. Xianyu was scared silly and did not know how to react. Her cultivation at the invigorated Meridian realm was also instantly thrown to the back of her mind. Long Fei's pupils tightened. With a flip of his right hand, he sent a palm flying. Buddha palm technique. He only knew this move. Rumble. A gigantic palm print appeared out of nowhere and directly pounced towards the demon beast. Rumble, rumble. A bright red number floated above his head. 99,999. Long Fei secretly thought, what a high damage. The demon beast was directly sent flying by this palm attack and collided with a huge tree that reached the sky. He spat out a mouthful of blood. In that instant, his body mutated again, returning to his kitten form from before. He looked at Xianyu pitifully as his mouth trembled, as if to say, don't kill me, don't kill me. The profound jade's heart was once again nurtured. It looked at Long Fei and said, it's so pitiful. Can you not kill it? Master begs you. Long Fei looked at the pitiful little kitten and said, all right, we'll listen to you. We won't kill. Xianyu heaved a sigh of relief. Long Fei's nether passage realm speed fiercely exploded, and he instantly rushed in front of Little Flower Cat, throwing out a punch. It doesn't exist. A punch landed heavily. Cat's pupils changed, boom. His body mutated once again. But no matter how much it changed, there was no use. The gash on its head was only left with 1 point. Bam! Beast to the end, both eyes staring at Long Fei. Long Fei kicked him and said, it's useless to look at this daddy here. Humans eat meat, dogs eat shit. This daddy is hungry, they want to eat meat. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing the level 1 transformation cat. Do you want to absorb the demon beast's flesh? Murder, level of acquisition. Kill the demon beast and absorb its body rank. Long Fei was currently in the Nether Passage realm, but his physical body was still LV0 and his defense was extremely low. If he was hit by this mutated cat, he would probably be killed instantly. Capture. The idea moved, and the killing system began to circulate. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for increasing his physical strength. Current level, level 1. Long Fei could clearly feel a change in his body. Xianyu was still standing blankly on the side. Long Fei took out the Lotus Jade Pendant, activated its spirit energy, and slightly touched the mutated cat's blood, causing a drop of blood to be absorbed by the Jade Pendant. A red light flashed. Through the system, Long Fei became secretly excited. If everything can be consumed, then it can completely evolve. Do you want to receive it? Receive. Ding! System notification. Congratulations to the player for obtaining double the power of transformation. Item. Changing power, 1 shot. Attributes. Double description. The power of transformation of the body. 2 times the body's level increase. Long Fei was secretly pleased when he saw the attributes. This jade pendant combined with my system is simply perfect. Let me try out its other functions after I've eaten my fill. This was a super divine treasure. Long Fei needed to understand it thoroughly. Xianyu was still dazed on the spot. She felt aggrieved. He felt that Long Fei was very cruel. Long Fei did not care about it, but continued to clear his stomach and start a fire to roast meat. Half an hour later, the fragrant roasted meat came out. Xianyu stood beside Long Fei, her eyes shining, constantly swallowing her saliva like a greedy little cat, adding the black on her cheeks. She was even more adorable. Long Fei looked at her and said, do you want to eat it? Xianyu nodded her head and replied, yes. Long Fei passed the roasted meat over and said, take it. He had roasted a new thigh. Xianyu gulped and said, delicious, delicious. It will be even better if you put in more chili peppers. Long Fei. His face that was filled with hatred towards Long Fei at the start had now completely turned into a little glutton. Long Fei was too lazy to explain. After she finished roasting her thigh, just as she was about to eat, Xianyu looked at Long Fei pitifully and gulped down her saliva. This expression, it was simply an instant kill. Here, Long Fei exhaled a breath of air. I don't know whose master is either. Xianyu took the piece of thigh and started gnawing on it again. After leaving the capital, the people around her disappeared one by one. She pretended to not know, but her heart was filled with fear. She knew that someone was going to make a move on him. She also knew that something had happened in the capital, but she didn't dare to say it. She didn't dare to say it to anyone. She had not eaten her fill or slept warmly along the way, but now that she was by Long Fei's side, she felt very safe. After she had eaten her fill, Xianyu rubbed her round stomach with a face full of satisfaction. Leaning against a tree stump, she happily fell asleep. Not long after she fell asleep, she began to blabber about in her sleep. Father, father, don't. Ah! His body trembled and twitched violently. Then there was another giggle. He. Master, you are so funny. You aren't my master at all. Do you think I would believe you? However, if I want to go to Xin Pavilion, I need a bodyguard. You being my bodyguard is the best. You want me to cook for you? I cooked it on purpose, huh? I hate you. Why did you kill such a cute kitten? The barbecue is so delicious. It's really delicious. I've eaten the most delicious thing in my life. Thank you, master. Always talking. He didn't know if it was true or fake. Long Fei felt a little awkward listening to her from the side. In the end, he saw her quieten down, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then, Long Fei also walked to the other side and took out the refined jade pendant, saying quietly, System description, you can devour anything, evolve anything. To see what you can evolve out of these most common things. Gold or stone can be tested at once. Gold or stone can be tested at once. Long Fei picked up a blade of grass, urged his spirit energy, and said, Devour! A drop of green liquid was sucked into the lotus jade pendant. After a few seconds, the lotus jade pendant released a dark green light. So fast, Long Fei immediately checked the results. Profound spirit grass. Rank 1 spirit grass. F***CK. Directly transforming a blade of grass into a spirit grass. This is too amazing. Long Fei was completely shocked. Tripling the amount of refined blood from the mutated cat was nothing, but to be able to turn ordinary weeds into spirit grass, that was truly amazing. Let's see what a rock can conjure. Similarly, there is also a drop of gray liquid within the stone that was sucked into the lotus jade pendant. Not long later, the result was a small piece of refined ore. It was as if it could enlarge the purest form of energy, even if it only contained the tiniest of power. The growth of the weeds could not be separated from the climate, soil, and water. There might not even be a tiny bit of spirit energy contained within the weeds, and that was because this seemingly insignificant mutation of spirit energy had evolved from the lotus jade pendant. The weeds had evolved into alchemy spirit grass. The stone had evolved into a smithing ore. The sand evolved into golden sand. Even the cheapest soil that was everywhere evolved and turned into the rare black soil that was specially used to nurture spirit grasses and spirit flowers. All of this was evolved from a small jade pendant. This is the most amazing evolution I've ever seen. It's even more awesome than the rewards given by the system. Long Fei secretly thought, no wonder even the vice sect master of the divine sect wants it. I can't let others know about this. Long Fei was very clear on the principle that a man with a treasure was sinful. Once its wonders were known by others, he would become the target of everyone in this plane. Let's see what else can evolve. Long Fei picked up a leaf, wanted to let the jade pendant evolve, but the jade pendant didn't react. Stop working? Is there a limit to the one-day plan? He looked at the thing that he had just evolved. Including the cat transformation, there were a total of 9 times. Is that the number of times a day? Its evolution is to absorb various liquids. Long Fei's mind suddenly turned evil, and he muttered, I suddenly have a big, bold idea. Yi Zichen looked at his crotch. I wonder what it can evolve into. Billions of kids have come out. Then in the future, Long Fei was already somewhat evil. If this jade pendant could devour anything on this plane, then what if Long Fei's blood essence had a power that could defy the heavens? Then what about in this world? Can it evolve? Sigh, I can't try it now, or I really will. Long Fei muttered. Right now, it was as if he had a treasure scout, and he wanted to scan every nook and cranny of the place. If his blood essence could really evolve into an even more powerful force, it would be much easier for him to cultivate in the future. Long Fei was a madman. As long as he could become stronger, what did blood essence matter? He would not care about how strong everything got. Right now, he was in the hall of eternal life, in a world outside of the universal realm. If he could not become incomparably strong and possess the power to suppress the Emperor Xian, then what would happen to the universal realm? Even brothers didn't dare to recognize each other in front of them. He didn't even dare to retaliate after getting hit by the God's tribe. There was no point in living like this. Long Fei held onto the lotus jade pendant tightly and muttered, "Wait for me to return. On the day I return, heaven and earth will definitely turn upside down, and heaven will turn into a dead zone." The young master's corpse. Such a huge palm. What is this palm technique? Send 2 people to escort the young master's body back while the rest of you continue chasing after him. A few simple sentences. More than 10 black shadows disappeared on the spot, crazily chasing after him. The next morning, Long Fei and Xianyu continued on their way. The 2 of them did not move quickly. "Master, I'm so hungry. Shall we roast some meat?" Her jade eyes shone brightly as she looked at Long Fei. She now treated him like a chef. Long Fei rolled his eyes at her and said, "Didn't you just finish eating? Why was he hungry? Look at your stomach. Those who don't know what's going on will think that you're pregnant for 10 months. If you keep eating like this, your stomach will give birth." Xianyu looked at her round stomach and said, "Even if you want to give birth, it is yours." As he spoke, his face reddened. Long Fei said in disdain, "Don't worry, I will definitely not take responsibility for it." The black jade was very beautiful. Any man would find it hard to walk on a beautiful street, but Long Fei was not thinking about love, but about becoming stronger and taking revenge. Xianyu pouted unhappily. Long Fei took down the remaining half of the thigh meat and said, "Good, good, good. Barbecue, barbecue, I will support you to death." Once again the fire was set. Xianyu happily jumped up as she hummed a song. "I want to become a happy little fatty." As Long Fei roasted meat, he took out the lotus jade pendant. On a new day, it can evolve 9 times this time. Long Fei condensed a drop of blood essence. The blood essence was absorbed by the lotus jade pendant. Long Fei quietly waited, but the lotus jade pendant flashed a red light and stopped moving. Damn, what is going on? Could it be that my blood essence is inferior to mud? Even mud can evolve, but my blood essence can't. Long Fei was a little depressed. In the universal realm, his blood essence was extremely powerful. In this plane, the system was unable to view the operation of the lotus jade pendant. Long Fei did not give up. He condensed another drop of blood essence, but this time the lotus jade pendant did not absorb it at all. Damn, are you looking down on me? Or could it be that the blood essence inside the jade pendant has yet to evolve and can't accept the second evolution? Long Fei muttered. Suddenly, the center of his brows moved as he silently put away the jade pendant and picked up the poker for the fire. He suddenly turned around. Boom! The poker was thrown. In the dark forest, a powerful force came out and swept the poker towards the side. Xianyu was stunned. "What's wrong?" Long Fei said, "Someone is coming." In that instant, he felt the killing intent. It was also at this time. A dozen or so black-clothed men, wearing tight clothes, walked out of the darkness, their eyes all staring at the profound jade. Xianyu stared at the elegance displayed on their robes as she stated, "Chun clan guards. Princess, you have a good eye. Since you know that we are Chun clan guards, then obediently come back with us." Xianyu slowly leaned towards Long Fei. I'm not going back with you." And at this moment, swoosh, swoosh, 2 iron claws suddenly shot out, aiming for Xian Yu's collarbone. The pupils of Xian Yu's eyes shook as she said, "Master, save me." Just as his two iron claws were about to grab onto Xian Yu's shoulder and collarbone, Long Fei took a step forward. Just as his two iron claws were about to grab onto Xian Yu's shoulder and collarbone, Long Fei took a step forward. He attacked the two iron claws twice. Bang, bang. After striking down the iron claw, Long Fei placed the black jade behind him and said lightly, "Don't appear. Nether Passage Realm? He dares to act the hero with this cultivation?" The leader, a man, slowly walked out. More than a dozen Shan family guards also slowly surrounded him. Every one of them were at least at the first stage of ethereal opening, which was much higher than Long Fei's cultivation. Leader looked at Long Fei with contempt and said, "Brat, I'll give you a choice. Hand over her, and I'll give you a chance to live." The profound jade immediately grabbed on a Long Fei's clothes and shook his head. "Master, don't abandon me." "Master? Ha ha!" Leader laughed loudly. "Your Highness, is he your Xian's master? Ha ha! Trash at the Nether Passage Realm? If he can become your Xian's, then my brothers here can all be your master." The ones with the lowest cultivation were all at the third level of ethereal opening and were all above Long Fei. Long Fei frowned. The leader disdainfully said, "Kid, get out of the way." The profound jade grabbed on a Long Fei's clothes tightly and shook its head. Long Fei said softly, "Don't worry, I won't leave you behind and let you off." Leader's face turned sinister as he sneered. "Then are you courting death?" Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the two guards by Leader's side suddenly attacked, holding onto the soul-sealing spike. They attacked Long Fei from both left and right. Boom! Boom! The pressure of the realm burst out, striking towards Long Fei. Long Fei's body slightly sank. Immediately, without any hesitation, he said, "Power of transformation, activate." Boom! With a double burst of power, he immediately transformed into a strong, fleshly body, like a transformed cat. The power of transformation was released from his body. Long Fei clenched his fists. Crack, crack, crack. A series of explosions sounded. The aura on his body underwent a drastic change. His fists moved as he punched the two guards one at a time. Bang, bang. With two heavy blows, the two guards fell to the ground, blood spurting out from their wounds. The gash on their heads had also rapidly bottomed out. However, he did not die. While he's sick, take his life. Long Fei did not stop and punched out twice more. Bang, bang. His HP was now low. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing lifeguard of Chen's family. Do you wish to absorb it? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing lifeguard of Chen's family. Do you want to ingest his level? Capture. Long Fei moved. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the third level of ethereal opening. Instantly, he leveled up by 3 levels. He didn't need any experience to feel so good. Long Fei was excited. This killing system is too powerful. As long as we kill someone stronger than us, we can immediately obtain their realm. Awesome. He no longer had to worry about leveling up again. Difficult to break through? Find a powerhouse to kill him, then instantly break through. When Long Fei killed the two of them, the surrounding guards were all secretly taken aback. Long Fei was only at the first stage of ethereal opening. However, he was able to kill someone with just 2 punches. Clean. This was absolutely not something that a third-level ethereal opening cultivator could do. Leader was startled. Hide your own strength. The man stared at Long Fei and said indifferently, "You're pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger? Sure. Then I'll see what this tiger of yours is capable of. Let's attack together." Chen Haohai ordered his men to kill. If they could not bring back the profound jade, then they would only have one ending, and that was death. Not only them, their families would also be the same. They could only bring back Xuanyu to save themselves and their families. Thus, the leader did not think that much and decided to attack together. Rub, you don't play according to the rules? Long Fei's heart trembled. He thought that if a third-stage ethereal opening guard died, they would send out a fourth-stage ethereal opening cultivator. He did not expect that the fifth stage would be sent out at the same time. Doubling his strength was indeed very powerful, but not so powerful that he could deal with so many people at once. Moreover, Leader's cultivation was above the Nether Passage realm. He was a small boss. From the moment he walked out, Long Fei could see the faint glimmer of golden light on his body. Kill! The 13 people pounced at the same time. Long Fei quickly opened the system and looked. 4th level of ethereal opening, 5th level of ethereal opening, 6th level of ethereal opening, 7th level. The rank of the Imperial Guards, as well as their HP, appeared in Long Fei's mind. Level 1, Level 1. Long Fei thought to himself. He did not dare to jump too far in rank. He didn't have much to rely on, so he could only rely on it one step at a time. After locking onto the 4th level of ethereal opening, Long Fei moved his body and rushed forward explosively. Bam! A punch resounded through the 4th level ethereal opening guard, and the other 12 people simultaneously lunged at Lin Fei. Boom! Long Fei smashed a person onto the ground, while at the same time, his back was covered in cuts and bruises. He was in unbearable pain, and his health point had been reduced by a large amount. However, as if he didn't feel it, Long Fei once again used all his strength to punch down ruthlessly. Bam! Die! Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lifeguard of Chen's family. Do you want to ingest his level? Yes, sir. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 4th level of ethereal opening. Upgrade. All attributes are restored. All injuries healed. The gaping wounds that had originally been deep enough for the bones to be visible had all been healed in an instant. Not even a scar was left behind. It was the same for the sword wound, the knife wound, and the hook wound. Long Fei jumped a step back and tore off the clothes on his upper body and excitedly laughed. Again, everyone was taken aback. They looked at each other, dumbfounded. However, without a second thought, they charged once more. This time, it was even more ferocious. Kill! Astral River sword technique. All sorts of powerful moves were unleashed, and they were all deadly moves, not giving Long Fei the slightest chance. Seeing them pounce at him, Long Fei did not dodge, but rather pounced on them even more crazily than them. Come. Bam! He had once again locked onto the 5th level Nether Passage Realm Guards. Without any other moves, he just ruthlessly threw down a fist and then used all his strength to ruthlessly smash down ruthlessly, as if he was fighting on the streets. Grab one and beat it to death. Similarly, Long Fei had also received a powerful blow. His bones were fractured, and his fresh blood gushed out like a spring. His life was hanging by a thread. However, Long Fei fiercely jumped. The system rang out once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 5th level of ethereal opening. All the injuries on his body were healed perfectly once again. Not a single wound could be seen on his body. The Imperial Guards were now afraid. All of them looked at Long Fei as if he was a ghost. Was this person even human? The first time was a coincidence. 2 times is no coincidence. Seeing that the injuries on Long Fei's back had healed once again, without a single wound, they looked at Long Fei as if they had seen a ghost. Is he a human or a ghost? How could this be? What kind of body is this? Impossible. He's only in the Nether Passage realm, so it's impossible for him to take so much damage and recover in an instant. Do you guys have a cultivation base? At the start, it was only a 1st grade Nether Passage martial artist. But now it's already a 5th grade Nether Passage martial artist. Just what sort of situation is this? Ghost. He's a ghost. The few timid guards' legs began to tremble. It was impossible for him to instantly recover from his injuries. Xianyu looked at Long Fei with an excited expression. Master, you can do it. As expected of the master, profound Jade also could not understand either. But in her heart, Long Fei was very, very powerful, so powerful that she even started to worship him a little in her heart. What kind of existence was the lifeguard of Chen's family? In the dynasty, they were often victorious, and they never lost a single battle. As long as any mission was handed over to them, they would be able to accomplish it. When she saw the Chun clan's guards, her heart was filled with fear. But Long Fei's 2 kills completely crushed the lifeguard of Chen's family. Too powerful. She who had lived for 28 years worshipped Long Fei like she worshipped a hero. Leader frowned. He saw Long Fei's every action very clearly and analyzed continuously in his mind. It was impossible to analyze anything. Even more so, did not know how Long Fei managed a breakthrough just by killing a single person. I don't know why the wounds on his body healed immediately. However, as the captain of the Imperial Guards, his mission was everything. Failure meant death. Clan extermination. Therefore, they never failed. The man said in a deep voice, "Go." The remaining 11 people's gazes darkened, gritted their teeth, and looked at Long Fei. Long Fei smirked and chuckled. "Little scum, come quickly." The 11 players looked at each other and rushed out at the same time. Long Fei secretly laughed and said, "Right now, it is a 6th-level ethereal opening cultivator." Long Fei rushed out, and at this moment, Leader also moved at the same time. Boom! It landed right behind Xianyu and grabbed onto Xianyu's hair. With a fierce tug, a venomous dagger appeared in his right hand, and he placed it against Xianyu's neck. "Try moving another one." Long Fei's body sank and stopped in place. The 11 people pounced at the same time and pressed Long Fei to the ground. "Umph! You want to fight me? You're courting death." Leader suddenly let go of the black jade and punched Long Fei in the abdomen. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, and his abdomen began to hurt. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. "Master!" Xianyu shouted and wanted to rush over. The right hand of the leader pointed at the dagger, then pointed at the spirit jade's lower jaw. "Try moving one." Xianyu also stopped. The corners of Leader's eyes turned sinister as he looked at Xianyu with a lecherous glint in his eyes. "The #1 beauty in the Empire. I didn't believe in the past, but I have seen it today. You caused me to lose 4 brothers. Today, I must let my living brothers have a good time." Slash! The man's rough hands directly tore off the profound jade's outer garment, revealing a large piece of skin as white as snow and a white silk undergarment. 2 or 8 years had passed, and he had already matured. Their snow-white skin made them gulp a mouthful of saliva. Each and every one of them revealed an excited and sinister smile. Compared to a princess, her skin is thousands of times better. "Haha, I can't take it anymore. Boss, you go first." Crunch, crunch. One beast after another exploded. Xianyu's tears also began to drip down as she clutched her chest, her body shivering. Leader looked at her pitiful appearance and grabbed her lower jaw. He laughed lewdly. "In the past, when you were high and mighty, everyone would kneel down and worship you. Now, kneel down." Bam! The man pressed down hard. Xianyu kneeled down on the ground and kneeled at the same level as Leader's belt. Lifeguard of Chen's family had never lost. Their defeat meant death. They had always been successful and had always been unrestrained. For example, if they captured a city, they would be in a frenzy for 3 days and 3 nights. Now that they had captured the princess, they were just as crazy. "Enough!" Long Fei suddenly exclaimed. Leader's gaze turned, looked at Long Fei, and laughed. "Do you know why I didn't kill you earlier? I just want you to watch us ravage her. When we've had enough, would you like to have one too? You don't want to miss out on such a great treasure, right?" "Ha ha! Ha ha!" Everyone laughed. Long Fei's gaze turned sinister with bloodshot eyes. The rage raged. Leader laughed disdainfully. "What? You want to get angry?" "Ha ha!" Another round of sneers. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. To Thagida. Without waiting for him to release it, the man moved and suddenly attacked. His right fist struck Long Fei's abdomen. At the same time, suddenly, the lotus pendant in Long Fei's embrace suddenly flashed with a red light. The red light shone brightly. It exploded in the sky. At the same time, the system sounded out. Ding! System prompt. Evolution completed. Evolution completed? What evolution is complete? Longfei suddenly remembered that he had just released a drop of his blood essence for the Lotus Jade pendant to swallow. Who would have thought that the evolution would suddenly be completed? What did he evolve into? Longfei looked at a little kid who looked like a human in the Lotus Jade pendant. Damn. What I absorbed just now was blood, not essence. Why? Why evolve into a little kid? What's the use of a little kid? Are you here to cheat me? Can we not? At this time, Leader's fist had already reached Longfei's abdomen. However, at this moment, the child's eyes opened. Humph. He dares to injure my father? I'll take your life. The little child suddenly moved, landing on Longfei's abdomen, took out a spear from nowhere, and pierced it towards Leader's fist. Bam! Kacha, kacha, kacha! A series of bone-cracking sounds. Leader's right arm became straight as a spear stabbed into his bone from the center of his bones. In that instant, his face paled and he retreated. The spear was pulled out from his bone marrow, and at that moment, his eyes looked like they were about to burst. A tragic cry. Pain. Unendurable pain. A spear pulled from the bone marrow. A spear pulled from the bone marrow. How much pain was this? An indescribable pain. Moreover, Leader simply could not see the little child, nor could he see the long spear. He could only feel a weapon piercing into his bone marrow. Then pull it out. Leader was in so much pain that he directly chopped off his arm, but he did not have the strength to do so. Her face was as white as paper, and even her hair was trembling. She stared at Longfei with a head full of cold sweat, and at Longfei's abdomen. The surrounding people were also stunned. Longfei obviously did not do anything. Why did the party leader suddenly receive such a heavy injury? Longfei himself was a little dumbfounded. Haha, hurt my father? Come again. He. See who hurt who. The little kid jumped up, just like the little Neza in the cartoon, waving the red tassel spear in his hands in abnormal joy. Longfei became even more confused than before, and said, He was injured to this extent by you? The little child confidently said he wanted to hurt Daddy first. Wait, tell me, who's your father? Longfei felt his scalp go numb. The child said, You, Daddy, don't tell me you want to go back on your words. You don't want me anymore, do you? You. Tears streamed down his face as he spoke. Finally, wow, he started crying loudly. Longfei said as her head swelled up, Don't cry for now. I'll ask you first. The little child, wah, 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 wah. Daddy doesn't want me anymore. Daddy doesn't want me anymore. Wow, wow, wow. He didn't even give Longfei the chance to speak. Hearing the child's cry, Longfei felt like his head was about to explode, and he said, I didn't say I don't want you. The little child immediately stopped crying and said, Really? Would you really want me? You won't lose me, will you? I don't want to be an orphan. I don't want to grow up alone without a parent and no one to rely on. F***CK. Are you talking about me? Longfei said fiercely. He felt that this was how he grew up. Since childhood, he had no one to rely on and did not know who his parents were. It was a terrible feeling. The little child's expression was serious as he said, Since father grew up like this, then you should cherish me even more. If you haven't received your parents' love, I will make sure you receive your son's care. Why does that sound so awkward? Longfei muttered to himself. All right, let's not talk about that now. I promise you that I won't abandon you. Even if it's going to be difficult, I will still raise you up, but there is something that I must know. The little child looked at Longfei with wide eyes. Daddy, speak. Don't call me Dad for now. Longfei said. The child immediately began to cry again, saying, Daddy doesn't want me anymore. Daddy doesn't want me anymore. Longfei. Don't cry. You can call me whatever you want, right? The little kid said, Then I'll call you. Longfei was afraid and said, Don't cry. Just scream at Will. The little child giggled and said, Grandson. Longfei. Come out here and see if I don't beat the crap out of you. I'll use your surname. Old fire was raging. The child said, "You were the one who said to call me whatever you want." Long Fei. The little child giggled and said, "Daddy, don't be angry. I was joking with you. You are my darling daddy, my best daddy, the most handsome daddy in the world." Long Fei's anger disappeared. Let's hear it again, especially the last sentence. The child said, "You're my most handsome father." That's more like it. Long Fei said, "All right, now I ask you, since you say that you are my son, then I want to know a question. Who gave birth to you?" This is an important issue. Long Fei had only provided a drop of blood essence. So no matter how powerful the lotus jade pendant was, it couldn't bear to give birth to a child, right? Moreover, no matter how retarded Long Fei was, he should at least know that sperm needed the combination of an egg to give birth to a new life. To take a step back, this was a world where anything was possible. However, this child was born to be able to speak, act coquettishly, and pretend to cry. What was even more amazing was that he could still hurt others. Was there really such an awesome little kid? Genius? Super genius? Monster? These words could not describe him at all. The child said, "Did you give birth to it?" Long Fei. He was speechless again. "I am a man. How can I have a child?" The child said, "Then I don't know." "All right." Long Fei asked, "And who is your mother?" The child said, "You." Long Fei. His head was about to explode. "I'm both a father and a mother. You can even have children?" Long Fei's brain wasn't strong enough. He saw the little kid wearing a child's apron and a whip that shot into the sky and would play with the spear every now and then. If it wasn't for the wind firewall beneath his feet, Long Fei would really think that he was Neza, who had transformed into a lotus. Thinking about lotuses, Long Fei's heart trembled again. A jade pendant. He touched it in his bosom. Nothing. Long Fei immediately asked, "Where's the jade pendant?" The child said, "What jade pendant?" "I don't know." Long Fei said, "It's the jade pendant that gave birth to you just now. How could you not know about it? It was clearly there just now. Why did it disappear?" The little child said, "I don't know, Daddy. I'm really hungry. Do you have a grandmother to eat?" Long Fei. It was also at this time. Leader endured the pain, stared at Long Fei, and said, "Kill him." There were too many oddities on Long Fei's body, so he quickly broke through and recovered instantly. And then, that one move almost took his life. He had to get rid of him first. Everyone was startled. The 11 people all made their moves at the same time, bombarding Long Fei's entire body. "You want to hurt my father again? Humph! If I don't show you guys something, do you think that my father is easy to bully?" The little kid suddenly stood up, and the red tassel spear in his hand shook. The moment those people's attacks landed on Long Fei's body. Bang, bang, bang. The little child brandished the red tassel spear, the spear shadows appearing one after another. And then, the throats of the Imperial Guards were punctured by the spear, and their bodies were sent flying. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, they were nailed to a tree tens of meters away. 11 of them were killed at the same time. Humph! The little child let out a vicious cry. Then he smacked his lips and said, "Daddy, do you have a grandmother to drink?" Long Fei was stunned once again. Holy **T. What kind of power is this? This child is too heaven-defying, isn't he? The strongest among the 11 guards was at the 8th level of ethereal opening, and the little kid did not kill anyone. A system notification sounded out in Long Fei's mind. It was exactly the same as when he killed her. Looking at the cute and lifeless look on the little child's face, Long Fei laughed. I made it. I picked up a super son for free. That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.